Hey, Anders. Good evening from Stockholm, Sweden. All right, we are back in the studio. It was I won't say working vacation because I wasn't working except for the very last day. We had to come back early for some credentials, but my wife had an itinerary and we had to keep it, and there was no relaxing, no dallying. So, yeah, you got to use your use it or lose it time. So why not? Go visit grandma while you can. Only it turns out that there was a outbreak of the current new normal in one town over. So hopefully everything ends up fine with all of that. Got a rather busy show for you today. I didn't even load everything up into the how do you call it, into the queue for you guys yet. So we're gonna get all of that sorted. But first, we've got some tweets. Good morning, Dawood.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Everything's going pretty well. I don't know. I was in the waiting room for a while, but I don't know what happened. So I'm here now.
Oh, well, if that's the case, let me resend it. Maybe everybody's stuck in the other waiting room. That's here.
I went back to Facebook and logged back in, so I don't know if I just hit the wrong link.
It's possible. No big deal. So we have Anders in the chat. He says, "Good evening from Stockholm." And this first one I want to save till Omar gets on.
Okay.
But we're going to go to the next one. So let's see. Share screen. This one is from Reddit. No, not the whole screen. You guys won't be able to see the whole screen. It's too wide for the view. There we go. So our friends at Reddit happened to find this article from the New York Daily News, and it says that Revel is actually going to be able to do their first 50 cabs that they had the medallions for, which is good. I'm not sure what changed their mind. Somebody said that, oh no, they were always approved for 50. Yes, they were approved for 50, but they said, oh, you can't put them in until you put in some gas cars, and it looks like they've backed off from that ultimatum. So that is good to see.
Yes, that is good to see.
Yes. Good morning, Steph.
Hey, good morning, Steph.
Good morning. I need headphones, but I don't know get over my hair.
You gotta get behind the head earphones. or earbuds.
Stop, I don't like earbuds. They hurt my ears. Grow hair like that.
I know. Don't hate on. Back in the day, you probably had hair though, right?
Back in the day, I had a little fro.
Okay, you probably had some back in the day too, huh, Casey?
I've never had a real fro. I did have a high top when I was a kid. That was interesting. Yes. So I don't understand what their problem was, aside from that they weren't playing the game with Revel. But it's good to see that the Taxi Commission is allowing them to do the right thing. One, honoring their own commitment by giving these folks the medallions under the EV mandate that they exercised, and two, using the EVs instead of hybrids or combustion vehicles, and so that's a plus. Somebody further in that Reddit thread had mentioned that some of the medallion holders they've actually taken their cars off the road, which is it's a good thing to have combustion cars off the road, but it's a bad thing in that what they were doing is hoping that the market for the medallions comes back to the pre-2000s level, where $100,000 for a medallion or something like that. It's not going to happen. Uber's there. It's done.
Right.
Yeah, and the subway still exists, and the bus. But I don't know. I would take the bus over the subway or a private car at this stage, just because the bus still sits in traffic just like the other two. So why not go beyond the traffic with the subway, or have your own private space with a nice EV if you're going to be sitting in traffic?
I don't know the behind the scenes of that, but it seemed it just smacked of big oil,
Yes.
putting their hand in trying to dissuade more EV use.
Yeah. Either them or a combo of them and the taxi commission, and I'm not saying the taxi commission, but like whoever is got the most sway over them, and maybe dealerships, but I don't know that they have that much of a sway in New York as they do in the southern states and Texas. I guess that's a southern state. They're unique. Let's call them that. So I've got another video to share with you. I think I showed you something like this on vacation. I don't know what it says because my translate button is missing, but the video will speak for itself.
This one I saw,
Yeah.
and what? How did he end up in the water in the first place? I mean,
Same way as all of them. If this is in China, then it was part of the flooding, similar to like
right.
Germany had a couple weeks ago. And Elon has told us these cars float, and you can do thrust with the wheels for a short time. But this is not recommended. If like this guy, yeah, they do have the test that we saw a couple weeks ago in China. In this case, I'm not gonna wag a finger at this guy, because what happened was nobody knew this flood was coming, and he was in a tunnel, and the tunnel flooded, and he is working his way out. So,
okay, so that's
I don't blame him. But it works. It's not recommended, and who knows how long you have, so be careful. In regards to the previous story, Eddie says it's always big oil and legacy auto. I don't want to say always, but I would say yeah, pretty much all the time.
Not always, but almost always.
Yeah, there you go. So what is the next one I've got? This one is fun, but I want to save it. So let's do this one. This one's kind of fun to me. So SpaceX shared this tweet. It's the 100th build of a Raptor engine. It's complete. So here's a picture of the crew with the 100th Raptor engine. These are going to go on the Starship, or actually this one is labeled RB16, so it's actually going to go on the Raptor booster. So it's going to go on the Super Heavy, which is doing quite well. I think I might have some more. Yeah, I think I do have some more on the Starship and the Super Heavy coming up later in the show. That's pretty exciting, and to think that this could be a solar powered rocket indirectly, using the Sabatier process, the solar power, and carbon capture. That's pretty cool. Unlike
Can you go back to that picture?
Say again?
Can you go back to that picture?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I didn't close it this time. Usually I do close them. Cool, huh?
Okay.
That's so that's right there in Hawthorne, isn't it?
It is.
So
Part of
that's
the reason
probably why they had to shut that supercharger down. I mean, they're right there building this thing, and I'm just driving back there with my So I've charged there a few times, and every time I go back there, I'm like, should I be back here?
Well, now the answer is no. But previously, you were fine. Because I think July 31st was the last day of public operation. So now it is exclusive to Tesla and SpaceX employees, and hopefully at special events. Hopefully they don't tear it down, because it's a historic site, or an historic site, I should say.
Tesla
grammatically
historic
correctly.
site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Supercharger 1.
Yeah.
It should stay there for a while.
Yeah, they tore down their first retail store.
They did,
and that should have been a historic site. But
yeah, they're not very sentimental, these companies. Eddie asked if people ask if he could drive in the rain. Yeah, or if he can go through a car wash. Can you charge in the rain? Oh, we have so much we need to make progress on with education of the public. Eddie says he hears about the supercharger, but he's never seen it, and now you never will.
See your neighborhood, Eddie. You should have been there.
I would like to go at some point. I guess I'll need to get invited to an event, assuming they have any more events there at all. But I think that the design center being there means that they'll continue to have events there. Yeah. All right. So this one was also fun. Another tweet. Another one where I have to mute the audio because there's music. So the Austin Tesla Club shared a video by PSI, MISS PSI, Worldwide Technology Raceway is where they did this, and let's just take a look. So the Austin Tesla Club was sharing that they have a new world record of 154.1 miles per hour at a time of 9.081. That's easier without the leaf blower they had going in the background there. But here we go. It lines up. It doesn't need to do a burnout because it can't. It's interesting that some of the sites are allowing you to take the plaid and others are following strictly to the rules where you need roll cage, parachute, helmet, all that. It does make an interesting sound. It sounds exactly like my P100D when launching. Except that it's twice as fast.
Wait, that car's twice as fast as yours?
Oh, yeah. Elon made me look like a chump when he showed me just the chart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's what, 1.99 seconds, and yours is running around what?
I'm 2.87, 2.78. With a 6,000-pound minivan.
That's
right.
Feels fast.
Yeah. I went ahead and I tried to get Tesla to give me a quote online, and they said 78.2. So then I put in to get quotes from Carvana and...
Wait, I didn't know you were selling it.
I'm not intending to. I'm just curious because everybody keeps saying, look, I can get my Model 3 sold for more than I bought it for. And I was like, well, let's see about mine. And, well, not from Tesla, apparently. And since I was already there, I was like, well, I've got the information up. Let me just see what everybody else says while I'm in here.
So they said 78.
78.2.
Mm-hmm. Have you had it 5 years?
Nah, so that's the other point I was going to bring up is I still have to keep it. Otherwise, I'll owe serious recapture money.
Yes. You're not actually selling it. You would have to sell it for way more.
Yeah.
Well,
but just hold it for what? 2 more years?
2 more years, yeah.
You can sell it and make a 50 grand profit.
That would be nice.
We'll see if demand is still there. Hopefully, they'll catch up with their
I hope it does.
With their supply, and demand won't be as great.
Yeah. But what prompted me was obviously all the people bragging about how much their Model 3s are going for, either with Tesla, Tesla, Carvana, and Vroom. But then I saw yet another video of somebody trying out plaid for the first time, and I got a little jealous. But I mean,
you want to get one of those?
Would you go
Model
X,
X, yeah.
X or S if you go plaid?
It'd be an X.
X, okay.
Yeah, but practically it doesn't make any sense because I don't know how I'd work the finances, and I've got the Cybertruck and the Aptera on reservation, so that would be like 3 new cars in 1 year for one driver. I can't.
You got time for the Cybertruck? Just got pushed back a little bit. I don't know if you have a story about that coming.
I probably do.
I'm confused. So because you have the 100 DP,
the P100D with Ludicrous, yep.
So why do you need plaid? Just so that you can flex on B-roll?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
That is the only reason, though. Like,
well, I mean,
why do you need Ludicrous?
Right,
right. He doesn't have
Sergio got
ludicrous.
his Raven. So I mean, we were running the same car for a while. Then so Sergio showed me up with the Raven. I'm like, it's just a couple tenths of a second. Plus, we're on opposite coasts or states most of the time. But now it looks so appealing, and the yoke and the new air conditioned seats and.
I thought you wanted air conditioned seats.
I do, but the new ones they look like they would work better.
But do they?
I don't know. I haven't sat in them yet.
The ones you have kept my butt pretty cool.
Right?
So, how much cooler do you need your butt?
First world problems.
I don't think I don't think you turn them on for me.
You were in the back seat.
They're only in the front.
Yeah. The back seat only has heated seats all the way around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
then hey, another $70,000. Figure it out. You got to have air in the back.
So
right?
Let's get him a few more subscribers so we can make this happen.
When you get your Model Y, you got a couple updates that some older Model Ys don't have. You have heated steering wheel, which the older ones don't, and you also have biodefense mode.
Yep.
Well, that's worth the 4+ month wait.
Well, the biodefense mode definitely could be because what we keep talking about with the clean air, and some folks have actually measured the air quality during fire events in the West Coast and in their Model S and Model X because those were the only cars that had it during the last fire. And they put an air quality meter outside and they put one in the car. And outside was, hey, it's OSHA incompatible. You need a bunny suit. And then inside was hospital grade. And yeah,
there you go.
No,
it makes that big of a difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but when we had the fires last summer, we didn't really leave the house. So
right. But if you're out of the house, it's nice to be able to breathe clean.
I leave.
Hey, Zach.
Stay home.
Zach.
But yeah, I think I would take toxic air to have gotten it a few months ago.
Well, thankfully the world wasn't on fire when you when you ordered it. Yeah, I am still talking up Sarah. They seem to be making progress. I don't know if they'll make it this time. I hope they do. But if full self-driving makes it before they do, and their lane keep assist isn't as good and all that, I might not. But I'd like to. And yeah, Anders, I would love to, but Elon likes his money, and he might come for me if I don't produce when he does, and that's February. So that would be really putting it out there for the universe to try and make it happen. Oh,
so I'm really tempted right now to put in another order for another Model Y.
Yeah.
And sell mine because they're selling for so high.
Yes.
In such high demand, I could literally make a quick $10,000 right now just selling the one that I literally just bought.
No, but are there people that are actually selling them for 10? Because I could see like 6.
Yeah, closed offers.
No, people are buying them.
You better sell it.
You can sell it to Stephanie right now and get.
I'm seeing
right.
I'm seeing people sell them for like 65, and it costs 55, and then people are selling them for 65, and people are actually buying them. Hey, Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
I would sell it. $10,000.
Right, it's tempting. It is.
But you sold your S.
I already sold my S though. If I still had it, it'd be a little different. It'd be a different equation.
Buy back from your cousin.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Well, that might work, Andrews. But oh, the odds.
I mean, $10,000.
Sell it and get on the bus.
Right?
What are they saying that the weight is? I mean, I'm never gonna get mine.
So if I order one right now,
well, not with that attitude.
If I order one right now, I'm looking at December.
Yeah,
I think it just says forever in the Outcast voice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Zach. I was thinking that if the number was high enough, I definitely would have considered it.
It's tempting.
But as Stephanie says, the number would have to be exceptionally high for me.
The problem is I already sold my other cars. Like if I still had my Leaf or if I still had my old S, I would definitely sell it. But
like, hey, sweetie, we need to go to work. I need to ride to work.
Yeah.
Can you rent one from Turo for like a month or like?
That's gonna eat up
That won't even be worth it. That the profit will be gone.
No, because I feel like they're like, at least in Portland, I looked at them and it's around $200 a day.
Right. So, but you're talking about between now and December.
That's expensive. you lose all your profit.
Like it's not worth it.
So it seems like it might be easier to get struck by lightning, Anders. Those are not very nice odds.
What about if you bought
oh, the chat is awesome today.
Now, what could work is I could turn around, buy another used Leaf cheap, right? Sell the Y, just drive around and suffer with the Leaf for a few months, then sell the Leaf and get rid of it. And even though I may lose a little bit between what I paid for it and what I did,
you buy another one.
Buy another one. but what I'm saying is the amount of money that I would lose between buying a new one and then selling it again in a few months, that could make
the guy who bought your Leaf will sell it back to you for $10,000.
Right.
The only problem is at some point the bottom's going to drop out of this used car situation, and
it will.
I don't want to be a bag holder.
Right. Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah. So what got us on all of this? Go ahead.
If you could make a quick 10, and your wife won't let you drive her car.
Yeah, but sometimes
she needs it.
Probably well.
So what got us onto all of this, Marcus? Right before you joined, we watched a new world record from the Model S Plaid, where it set a darn it, I closed the window. Let's reopen the window. A 9.081 at 154.1 miles per hour. Nice. At the Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Should have been you, Marcus.
Completely stock. It looks like yours.
It should have been yours. That should have.
It might have been his. Remember. Remember, he saw his car on YouTube after they he was out on business, and they gave it to the next guy, and the next guy had it on YouTube, and Marcus was like, "Hey, is that VIN number blah blah blah?" And the guy's like, "How do you know?"
You got my car.
Right.
Hey, Stephen, look, my guys was talking over the weekend, but another guy told me, because I was going to get a cyber truck. He told me if you're going to put your order in now, that may make your date stop changing. They see you getting those orders in that, they probably, maybe they will stop changing my date. So I put my order in this morning for my cyber truck. So we're going to see if they keep my dates from keep changing, maybe.
Yeah.
I sense skepticism.
You know what? Maybe that's why I got prioritized when I got pushed back in line, when I got back in rotation, and I got mine quicker. Because number one, I was already a Tesla owner, but then number two, I also had an order in for a Cybertruck as well.
Hey,
right, they don't want to cost two orders for their inability to keep stuff straight.
Some people talk to me, share some good things that kind of make sense. The trust that So I'm gonna see though.
That kind of does make sense.
What was
I put my order in.
Is the deposit refundable?
That was the other part. Is most of the deposits are not refundable.
It's $100.
It's only $100.
Oh, okay.
Then you get pushed up in the line. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I should put another Y order in and just see
which one gets first.
That's what my friend was telling me last week. Like, there's something wrong. Like, mine went in a different path and is somewhere.
What would be funny is if you could refuse delivery on the expensive one and then take delivery on it as the cheap one.
Right. I know. Order it exact. Although I think I would have to switch the order up though. So
they probably would do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's $1,500 more now, so it would cost me $1,600 more to take that one.
Yes.
But nah, man, I'm about to get a Jaguar. Keep playing with me.
Hey, as long as it's an EV, but
Oh, the iPace.
Hold out hope.
iPace.
Hold out hope. The iPace is an EV.
I know.
Yeah, as I said, it's all EV. What do you think, Omar?
So more police are starting to go to Tesla, which is great. I love seeing that.
Yes.
For me, I mean, that's great. But the Model 3, just the size of it, like notice
small.
how they don't have a cage in the back of this car, so they're not going to be transporting anybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still great to see them using EVs. I would just rather have a larger vehicle like the Model Y. I think would be perfect.
Yeah, I think most of them.
And of course, the Cybertruck would be perfect as well when that comes out.
Well, but we gotta wait for them to arrive and start delivering. I bet you there are some police departments and like Fish and Game and others like that have Cybertrucks on order.
Omar, question right quick. By seeing it like that right now, and they didn't have a cage in there, would that have been something they would have did before it got to that stage, or they could do it afterwards? Just curious.
They would have done that as part of the upfit when they did the lights and everything else, and put the radio and all that other stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I'm going to be less nervous getting pulled over by a Tesla versus a Ford.
Well, the good thing about Tesla,
I agree.
If they're doing, especially if they're doing like a highway patrol or anything like that, the good thing about Teslas is they get up to speed so quickly that they can get into traffic quicker and easier and safer when they need to catch up with somebody. Because a lot of times, like, I think it would be especially useful for anyone doing highway patrol because they're sitting on the side of the road at a full stop, right? They're running radar or whatever, and a car comes zooming past them at 100 miles an hour. Now they have to try to catch up with them, and they're at zero. Well, number one, they have to get into traffic and try to get up to speed with the rest of the traffic safely. Then try to catch up to the vehicle, which means they have to go faster than whoever it was that blew past them. So, the advantage that a Tesla has is that thing's going to accelerate faster than any other police vehicle that's on the road right now. So,
yeah. These stats right here, Westport, Connecticut proved that the purchase premium is recouped within 1 year, and after 4 years, the savings are enough to buy another Tesla. That's incredible.
I mean, if that's not, if that alone isn't a reason to go EV, I don't know what. I mean, what? Because all the bean counters and the penny pinchers say, "Oh, but the upfront cost of a Tesla is it's too expensive, and we can." Get this other vehicle over here. It's cheaper. But if you look at the total cost, it's going to be way cheaper to have a Tesla.
Yeah. I mean, it's really frustrating when folks that have a fiduciary responsibility are unable to handle the idea of a TCO over time and are just looking at the instantaneous or the quarter to quarter. It's like...
Well, because the way government works, they only look at their budget for that year, their yearly budget. So they look at, this is how many dollars we have right now. They're not worried about how much does everything cost over time. They're just worried about what do we have right now.
But they need to. They're stewards of our money. They need to use it responsibly.
I agree 100%.
But if we lower that budget over time, then they're going to shrink our budget. That's part of the
inefficiencies of government. That's just part of the inefficiencies of government. It's terrible.
If we lower it over time, they're going to shrink our budget. So we can't look at making it cheaper.
Yeah, that's a possibility, Otis. But a lot of the ones we're seeing are for patrols, but we did see one for the fire chief and one for the police chief over the last year. So, as you mentioned, it could be for ranking officers as well.
Within
a
police fleet, there are tons of other vehicles, not just patrol.
Yeah.
They do have other vehicles for other purposes. And honestly, it makes sense all the way around, whether it's patrol or not. To me, it makes sense.
And Dan brings up a good point. The safety features, especially, because you want to make sure that your officers make it home. And
right. If you look at the statistics of how many officers are killed in car crashes every year, that's a large number. And it's just with the safety features of these vehicles, that there is worth it.
Yeah, I watch a pair of
roll out bulletproof Cybertrucks,
right? Bullet-resistant Cybertrucks. So I do watch a few crash compilation channels, and the amount of times I see a dash cam from a squad car that's rendering aid to somebody else, and it just gets creamed. Oof. But as Wood mentioned, it doesn't necessarily make you feel any more comfortable about the stop in the first place. So if we could tackle both situations of them polluting the air and making it out in one piece, that would be awesome.
My thing is, I feel like governments, like local governments, state governments, there needs to be within the budget considerations, like the environmental impact has to be a factor. And even if you shouldn't be able to say, well, going this route, Ford, Buick, I don't even know what they use, cost this amount. Like they're not factoring in the environmental impact, and that should not be acceptable to us.
They don't even consider the environmental impact most of the time.
Unless it's part of their requirements, but it's like you mentioned, it's so rare with their requirements. One of the things is what?
Or unless they get some kind of grant.
Oh, that part too.
So one of the other things that they need to consider too is when it comes to police cars is, so Teslas have built-in dash cams.
Yeah.
So now they could
save you hundreds of dollars per car.
You got not only built-in dash cams that's just looking forward, but you have view all the way around the car.
Yeah, and you don't have that cloud storage requirement.
If an event happens, if there's a crash or anything like that, officer gets into an accident, something like that, it's going to automatically save that footage.
Maybe that's why they don't want that.
They're going to have that. That's well.
Well, they have them on the cars. Those are the ones that rarely get turned off. It's the body cam that get turned off.
So the funny part is it's the administration that's making the decisions, right? For administrative, as an administrator person looking down, they want that.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah,
free dash
the
cam
officer behind the wheel might not want that, but he's not the one making the decision on what car they buy.
Right.
So
I've seen ones where they have a key over the control for the dash cam, so like literally only the people in the repair bay can actually take the memory cards out and that sort of thing. Or I guess the chief. But
but with the Tesla, you put the
they can lock the glove box on them.
Right. You put the glove box pin code in there, and they can't open it.
They still can't get at it. Yeah.
I'd love to question an officer about that. Like, your superiors have so little trust and faith in you removing it that it's under lock and key.
I don't necessarily think there's a lack of trust, although in some places that's definitely the case. But you also have, they say the appearance of, if it was available for him to turn it off.
Right. If he can't get to it, then there's no argument to be made that, oh yeah, the officer might have did something. No, he couldn't even access it.
Yeah.
Which
over on Twitch, Mr. Bunch of Letters and Numbers, I'm not interested in buying followers. Have a nice day.
That's probably a bot. So
I hope it's a bot.
It looks like it. Just looking at the
so if you have a front and rear facing dash cam in the squad car, that alone is going to be a couple $100. Then you've got the storage, local storage. Then you've got the cloud storage. So now you've actually got an additional 2 cams at a minimum, assuming they don't give us the pillar cams at any point, because you got the side repeaters. And they're free. They're already included in the price of your squad car. So that's awesome.
Now the storage
is there some functionality loss?
Because there is a problem with the storage, which is depending on what jurisdiction and where they're at or whatever, there may be certain retention requirements that they have to have, and depending on how they do it and how different departments do it in different ways. So you may have to buy. You may be able to get away with just installing a SSD in the glove box for it.
So I've got a couple of Raspberry Pis set up for Sentry mode where they actually make it so that none of the files are ever deleted. So after that 1 hour where the car comes back to try and delete it, it just clears the storage as far as the car is concerned, and it actually stores it in another partition. And then when I get near a known Wi-Fi hotspot, it will actually upload everything to my server. So that's an open source project as well, assuming that each place that we're talking about isn't blocked from using free and open source software, which is another problem with government. Oh, it has to have a warranty. It has to be paid for. Is definitely the policy at some locations, which they could then get a contractor to use the free and open source software for them. And then hopefully provide the storage back to the police servers and not charge them monthly for the storage. Yeah. So speaking,
so that can be worked around.
Yeah, it can be worked around. And then the quality is often better than what the upfitters offer. So Sawyer Merritt is sharing a story from the New York Times. I didn't read the article. I know I should have, but I had a point. Just from the title, I had a point I wanted to make. So he says Toyota bets on hydrogen power, but as the world moves towards electric, the company is fighting climate regulations in an apparent effort to buy time. And so the title is that Toyota led on clean cars, and now critics say it works to delay them. And I'm going to go so far as to say it's not just allegations, because we've seen time and again that Toyota lobbied the Trump administration and fought the Biden administration on gas, on gas, fuel economy and electric cars, time and time again. And it's quite sad to see, because with the Prius they were willing to lose money, they were willing to take a chance to do the right thing, and now they just want to rest on their laurels and do the same thing that allowed them.
Well, the problem is they started off ahead of the game. They were ahead of the game with the hybrids before that was popular, but now they're so far behind. They're just trying to delay and do anything they can until they can try to play catch up. Yeah. And it's sad.
In 1997 in Japan, 2000 in the U.S., they trailed the Honda Insight in the U.S., but they beat them in Japan, and it's just not the mission. So I don't know if you want to call it greenwashing or astroturfing or just not doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think I saw some commercials from Toyota during the Olympics about how green they are, but they're not serious about battery electrics. And I don't know why they went down the hydrogen road when everything is going toward battery electrics. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, because the hydrogen still does the same paradigm as the gas. So it's created somewhere, transported somewhere else, go to a station, fill up. You have to go to that station to fill up. It still follows that same paradigm.
You still need
to make the hydrogen clean enough
that they're partnered with or what have you. They're still making the money because they just have to switch what they're doing it from gasoline to now the hydrogen.
Yep, and they still have more service on
fuels. They're still using fossil fuels to make the hydrogen.
Yes, correct.
Yes. You don't have to, but you do.
Their fossil fuel company partners are still going to make the money.
Switch that to electric, you're going to use more electric than if you had just pumped that electric into a car.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. However, their fossil fuel partners would still be making money.
Right.
So the thing was, follow the same paradigm. The least amount of shift as possible.
Right. And then you also end up with the fuel cell electric cars and fuel cell combustion cars both require a ton more maintenance than electric battery electric vehicos.
So you get to come on out to Toyota and check out the newest model.
Right. And Zach brings up a great point about their financing insurrectionists. They fed some money to this QAnon guy just because, and it was like $1,000 or $5,000. It was chump change for them, and they stood by it. And then when they weren't looking, and while people were riled up about this guy, they went back to, as Zach said, funding the people who actually participated in the insurrection, as far as giving plans and stuff, allegedly. But they're fighting the investigation. So what do you got to hide there, Senator? But I'm curious to watch that play out, and I hope that justice is done, because I know that if I were trying to eliminate my coworkers, then it would not be so easy for me to cover my tracks.
Speaking of old paradigms,
on TV on the national news.
Yes.
So yesterday I saw one of the greatest license plates, vanity license plates ever. It was a VW Jetta.
Oh.
And the license plate said Dieselgate. It was the best. That was the best I've seen so far.
Oh, man.
That's good stuff.
Oh, man. So this next
What does
one,
that say about the owner that they're still driving it?
it would have been nice if it was like on an ID4 or something.
Right, on a Tesla.
A Tesla or a VW ID4.
ID4, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been great if it was on an ID4. Maybe they're holding out. Maybe they're waiting for.
Maybe they're in line.
Yeah, maybe they're in line or something.
Although that's part of their settlement, like.
Oh yeah, it could have been their settlement money.
Volkswagen didn't they give people the option to get a different car than the one that they had, or to sell it back? So maybe they got that. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they missed out, and they're showing their protest.
Maybe it was part of the settlement. Maybe they switched from a diesel one to a gas one, and then maybe that was their.
Could be. So, Clean Technica has a piece by Jennifer Sensiba highlighting the concerns that folks have with towing with an EV, and not just an EV, but also gas cars. And the example that she uses is a $300,000 trailer with batteries on board to help out with towing. But as we saw, not necessarily on this show, but anyone who follows me throughout my other podcasts that I participate in, there are a couple of models out of Germany that have 80 kilowatt hour batteries for $80,000 or less. 80,000 euros or less, where they also provide either they zero themselves out on the tow vehicle, or they actually provide assistance to the tow vehicle with towing them with their motor axles and their 80 kilowatt hour battery. So it was a good point. And if you'd like to read it, it's over there on Clean Technica, Solving the Electric Pickup Truck Achilles Heel Towing and Range.
So those wheels on that RV is then powered, so that there's less.
On the one I'm talking about, they are. On the one that she's talking about, I couldn't suss that out. All I found was that it does have a large battery pack, and that people were saying that it was too expensive.
I'm trying to figure, what does the battery pack do? Is the battery pack trying to recharge the towing vehicle, or is it just trying to take some of the stress off the towing vehicle?
So on the German ones, yes, it'll help push itself, and then when you get to the campsite, you can then charge from the trailer, or you can charge them both at the same time, assuming that you're at a place that has power, or you roll out solar.
So basically, like carrying a power brick for your cell phone, an extra power brick around, and
exactly.
When you get to where the campsite where you're going or whatever, then you plug your car into the trailer and charge off the trailer. Okay, that could be helpful, but I think that's one of the reasons why the tri-motor Cybertruck was advertised with 500 plus miles of range.
Yes,
it's so that way when you're towing, it's still a useful amount of range.
Yeah,
you're not going to, instead of getting 500, you might get 300, but
or 250,
or 250, whatever. But it's a useful amount,
right? Rather than having to stop at every station.
About bathroom time. So
right, exactly that part.
Right, so it's still decent.
That's what me and my guys we was estimating things for the travel and things. That's a good point for that one.
Yeah,
because of their range. Mm-hmm. And then plus it's gonna look good pulling it to the track, pulling the plaid.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be slick.
I'm gonna let them know I'm not polluting the air at all.
Exactly. You whip up on them silent with the Cybertruck, and then you whip up on them silently with the plaid.
We're gonna be talking mad noise about the environment out there on the track.
Yes.
What kind of wrap you gonna put on it?
My guys out there in San Antonio, it's a ceramic, a satin. It's just gonna be a satin something. It's gonna match the color of the gray, but it's gonna be a satin color. The whole car. And they waiting to get it because they want to do their project so bad so they can, their business can get the fame from it out there in San Antonio. But everybody's waiting on the car.
And then have the truck match it.
Yeah, with the trailer.
Yeah, okay, the trailer too.
So this one is an article about how Tesla was able to survive the semiconductor shortages, and the answer to that is barely. They had to divert chips from Powerwall to Model 3 and Model Y, and they had to come up with new chips actually, and they had to program them in and get the firmware for them ready.
Mm-hmm.
As Elon alluded to on the earnings call, that they spent a lot of time just making this work.
I mean, well, if they're using different chips, and they have to rewrite firmware to work with those chips, I mean, that's a lot.
This is why Elon is hiring an engineer over a marketing specialist any day. So that he can just give me any chip you got. I'll rewrite the firmware and stick it into Stephanie's Model Y. Well, maybe not Stephanie's. Stick it into Omar's.
Right. And it also explains why some folks like me have had 54 days since their last software update, because they like to have one software for everybody, but they'll make custom software to get the cars out the factory, and then to make sure that they perform the way they're supposed to, and then they'll fold them all into the big software updates as time goes on. And since they keep changing chips, they haven't had a chance to do the folding in part. So they've actually got like 3 or 4 major revisions before you even count Model S Plaid and Model S Long Range that are just out there for Model 3, Model Y, and then the existing fleet.
So how does that work 3 years from now? If you got a chip that was spec for a certain car, but then they couldn't get it, so they found this other chip and rewrote the firmware. And now 3 years from now, need something repaired, and you come in with this weird chip. How are they tracking that? Oh yeah, that was one of those 2021.
Well, I'm sure they're keeping track by VIN numbers for what car has what type of chip or what it has.
Yeah. Probably not by VIN number, but yeah,
the software. Yeah. They can. I mean, they can still do software and not firmware updates, and still get the same effect that they're looking for software updates. They just have to be careful.
So what they're gonna do is each car has a configuration in its gateway, and it knows what's inside of it. And so as they write the software, they're gonna write, and they're gonna say, hey, this is for MCU 1 cars, and this is for 2021 March Model Ys, and then the cool thing is like it's. Yeah. The good thing is, like, say you go in for repair, and they're
Stephanie's car, because we don't know what's going to be in that one.
Hey, it's coded. It's coded though.
It's coded, exactly.
I talked to the guy about that. It's coded. I got to talk to him about this.
And so if you're the last person to come in with a door handle with the alternate chip, and then they see that nobody in the fleet has got that chip anymore, then they can stop including it in the future software updates.
Okay. Stephanie, don't worry. You're going to have the new battery technology. You're going to have all the newest stuff.
2022, like mine's going to be. I have the 2021 pricing on the 2022 by the time that thing come out.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? My car, it was rated. The rated miles were, I think, 326 miles of range. I charged it to 100% yesterday because I had to do some driving, and it said 330.
That happens sometimes.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
That was the first time. I charged it to 100% since I got it. And,
I've had a couple of friends whose cars charged over the advertised, and mine charged 2 miles under the advertised.
I never hit the advertised.
I'm thinking I thought maybe they did that so just to protect me a little bit from the degradation that's going to naturally happen.
I think it's because your car was delivered in the same month it was built, so you got it before any settling happened.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question about the chip situation.
Yeah.
So, is it true that the same ones that's in the PS5 is that is actual 100% actual factual?
No, it's a little bit faster than the one in the PS5.
Slightly modified version of it, but it is basically the same chip. They partnered with NVIDIA for that.
AMD.
Or AMD, I'm sorry.
Because I'm trying to get a little messages from some of the guys I know. Some of them, thanks to you Tesla guys, our PS5s are still on back order.
Well, that could still be the case, though.
There is some truth to that. There is some truth to that.
Tesla ordered a lot more chips than Sony did.
Yeah.
and are you going to fill the order that's got a million orders of the slightly faster one, or are you going to fill in the slightly downgraded order that is cheaper and it has less units? I'm going to fill the one that's going to make me the most money and makes me the most profit and faster. Keeps my customers happy, especially since same thing happened with the consumer electronics, happens with the cars. They saw the situation happen. They released their orders. You move to the back of the line when you put them back in again.
Well, not only that, that's also the same reason why you can get the performance version of the car sooner than the standard long range.
Yeah, it does, Eddie, because the heat pump and the heat scavenging versus the PTC heater and a separate AC and all the weight and stuff that goes with that. Absolutely. Yeah. So with the software updates, we'll see them converge eventually, but that was how they were able to do it. Whoa! My screen just went away.
Don't worry, we're all still here.
So NTPC gets approval, and they're going to build India's largest solar park at 4.7 gigawatts.
Great, they need it.
Gigawatts.
7 gigawatts.
Yes. So the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy recently gave them the go-ahead, and the energy generated in this park will be used for the production of green hydrogen, the company revealed. Seems wasteful.
That's what's going to be my next question is, what are they going to do with that energy?
They're going to power the grid and apparently waste it on hydrogen.
Waste it on hydrogen for Toyota, I guess.
It could be. Because the same interests in Japan that have pushed hydrogen so heavily in Japan that the government is willing to subsidize it, and that's part of the reason that Toyota and Honda and the other Japanese automakers have gone so heavy on hydrogen, is because they're getting free government money for it. So why not take advantage?
Maybe it's all just a ploy. Maybe they don't really want to use hydrogen for cars. Maybe they just want to get the hydrogen infrastructure ready and get hydrogen technology moved forward so they can produce more hydrogen readily for their space aspirations. Maybe this is all a bait and switch, and just to throw it out there and have us all distracted with their cars when they're actually going to use it to go to the moon.
I'll say the good thing is that every little bit that they waste on hydrogen, thankfully, most of it can still be used on an EV, so they're not completely coming from behind when they decide to finally stop wasting efforts on either cracking water or worse, trying to take it out of the fossil fuel. If you're going to take it out of the fossil fuel, you might as well burn the fossil fuel cleanly.
Yeah, because the energy you use taking it out of the fossil fuels, it's a waste. Yeah.
Yeah. So our friends at Drive Tesla Canada have spotted. Well, obviously they personally haven't because of the border lockdown, but their sources have spotted the Amazon Rivian van in Detroit, Michigan. So with this one,
that's good to see. That's good to
exactly.
See. You know, I mean, we know. Jeff Bezos and Amazon, they put a bunch of money into Rivian, so we know that they're going to get those vehicles first. But it's good to see that they're using them.
Yeah, and Rivian told us as much.
Right, and that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like I said with AMD, would you rather satisfy your more profitable, larger customer, or would you rather risk both? I know what I would do.
And the other thing is, the good thing is they're real world testing it for everybody else. So
yes,
they have real world miles on it, doing real world application. And so when Rivian finally does come out with their consumer product, it'll just be that much better for everybody else because they have already tested it.
Yes. I have some more Rivian stories coming up later, so I'll refrain from what I was about to say. But it's a good-looking van, and every time you see an Amazon diesel van or gas van on the road, and you just think it could be replaced with this EV.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next up, Tesla launches a major shift in retail strategy. Cheaper locations, remote working, and more. And that's coming from the Outline via Reddit.
So cheaper locations make sense. Like instead of paying the high rent to have those Tesla stores in the high-end malls, that part kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because right at this point, their name is already out there. People are aware of them and their existence and kind of know what they are, most people. So, and the malls are kind of dying anyway. So
Mhm.
like a lot of people are no longer really going to malls like they used to. So
Yep. And they've already staged the vehicles at superchargers or other popular locations for you to take your test drives anyway. So these folks are able to work from home, unlock the car, get you started with your test drive. They can talk to you on the phone about whatever. They can lie to Stephanie back and forth a couple times, then promote it to their manager.
Nice.
save on the overhead. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. I mean, but what they do need though is they need more service
Service
stations.
centers.
Yeah, and thankfully they're
They
working
need
on
service centers.
that. Yeah. But you don't need your service center in the mall. You can put it in the industrial
No.
district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Yeah, service center. Well, the service centers usually aren't in the mall anyway. Those are
They
just
typically are just around the
those
corner. Yeah.
stores.
Yeah.
But
Right, so
I'm confused. Why are they trying to move to that new model?
Well, it
save
follows
money
up
overhead.
save money. Yeah, it follows up on what Elon tried to do a couple years ago, where he shut down all the stores, and that didn't last very long at all. I think a couple hours.
Right.
There were a
that's
bunch of them
right.
that did close though.
Yeah, for sure.
He wants it all online.
Mhm.
I mean, I imagined it where you go on your phone, you order the car, a complete like robot robot facility makes the car with no people, and then the car drives itself to your home. And that's
I
what he
think
imagined.
but that works for like a certain demographic of people that are driving EVs. But if you want mass adoption, there are people that want that. I mean, I like to think that Casey may disagree. I like to think that I'm pretty tech savvy, but I also very much wanted like that. Okay, like talk me through this. I mean, I ordered online and then I went to the store. But I just think like if the ultimate goal is that we're eliminating ICE cars, everyone drives an EV. Not everyone is going to be comfortable making a $60,000 purchase, like to buy a car that they've never driven before. That they, like how are they going to do the test
So
drive?
that's why they're still doing test drives. So that what they do is they have remote test driving. What they do is they're setting up, and they are actually tested this in my area. I've seen it.
Mine too.
They're putting Teslas at the superchargers, and when you go online and whatnot, and you want to schedule a test drive, hey, we have one in your area. You just go over to here to this supercharger, and here's the car. And then you go over to the car, and they give you access with your cell phone or whatever. They give you access to the car. You have access for a certain amount of time. You take the car out, you drive it around, check it out. You drive it back, and you park it back at the supercharger and leave it. And like this, just like this remote test driving situation.
But Stephanie, I would also point out that that's just Tesla's brand. I mean, if you want an EV that you don't have to do all of these things, just go get a different brand.
Get bored.
A lot,
I mean, I get that, but
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people like it. Like it's a community. I mean, you buy the car and you don't even know everything it does, and you find out about it on Facebook from the community, from different blogs or whatever. Did you know your car can do this? Oh my God, that's so cool.
There's also the factor that if you're spending all this rent on a mall retail property, then you're never going to get your $25,000 car because you're wasting it on real estate, and you need to cut all of your expenses to get it down to 25 grand, and that car is supposed to be here the year after next year.
I get it. I just
2 years.
I think that
2
as
weeks.
we move to a society that everything is, related to a cell phone and a QR code, I think that if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that like there definitely is like a information gap, access to technology gap, and if you don't want it to just be people that are tech savvy that can go online and be like, sure, I'll just make this ACH transfer for my $100,000 car. Then I think that you need to have multiple models of sales to get people into them.
Right, and as Dan pointed out, you don't know necessarily that the community is going to do what you want. Like we saw all the complaints about the sharing supercharger network. That is better for the mission, even if it's not better for the individual. in like the selfish reasons, obviously. I mean, it's better for the individual as far as having clean air and completing the mission.
Right.
And then, there's the whole thing, like, we talked with several people about the emergency exits. Most people don't know about them. And on the model, that's, it's in the manual, but if you had to find out from the community, because who reads manuals? Weirdos like me.
You can do a Facebook post while you're upside down in your car. Somebody help me get out of here.
Oh, let me read the manual. It's on page 9,000. Okay.
Yeah, but then what happens when you get banned from Facebook? And
right. Well, right.
But
what I didn't like is how they did
Contessa really hit those profitability points just by making it, cheaper to sell the car. Don't we really need to hit the manufacturing? All of the inputs need to be cheaper. The batteries need to be cheaper. It just, all of the raw materials. We need to have more mining, more ore, more lithium, where those things are very cheap. And then the manufacturing of each input needs to be cheaper.
And they're working towards that with the salt extraction of the lithium, the removing of cobalt from all the batteries. They're going either high nickel or high iron. And so we can see them making progress. There's just that their awareness of how it's not essentially great for the customer the way that they're taking their approach in the meantime. And we're going to end up in a better place, but it would really feel better if there could be a nice human touch partway through all of this. We need a Gwen Shotwell.
If they had a PR department,
right?
Some of these issues could be solved.
They can't program firmware.
Well, they can program firmware, but they can't talk to people. But as Omar said, I love the emergency exit solution for the Model S. The Model X is a close second, but I really don't like it in the Model Y. I absolutely detest it in the Model 3. Simply because in the Model 3 you have to make your own before you get into a situation. Otherwise, if you lose backup power and main power, then the back doors don't work. You have to climb over the front seat.
In the Model Y, you can do it, but you have to.
You need to have a screwdriver ready.
You have to have a tool, right, to pry it open. It's
for the Y. What the Y has the little thing.
Under the rubber flap in the rear cup holders.
For the front, you're good, but in the back seat, for the back seats in the Y, you have to peel
have
up
a pry tool,
a little rubber cover, take that off. Then you have to. There's a clip that you have to undo. You need like a tool. I tried doing it with my hand. It took for the longest time, and I couldn't do it. Yeah. You need a tool. You literally need a tool to pop that clip open, and then there's like a little thing that you pull.
There's a little cable like mine, a little wire?
There's a little cable, cable wire thing, and you pull that, and it'll open.
And the only reason I like the one on the Model X is because you can do it tool-free, but I don't like that you have to pull your speaker grill off. So to practice, you could damage your car. Obviously, in an emergency, I don't care if I've damaged the car. I want to get my family out. So that's fine. But on the Model S, it's super simple. There's a little gap in the carpet. You stick your fingers in there and you just pull on this little tab, and it works great.
You got to understand in the situation when you need to use that. I mean, the car may be on its side. The car may be on fire, partially underwater. They don't have time to go looking for these little tiny details. Well,
that's what I'm saying. On the Model X, you can teach your kids to practice it, but
and this is why you need to know ahead of time, and have a plan ahead of time.
Like in the military, you're going to drill until you got it. That way, when you need it, it's autopilot. You're not thinking about it.
But who does this? Nobody does this.
Weirdos like me. There aren't enough of us out there, apparently. So Zach had a couple posts I wanted to highlight. So one of his neighbors down the street got a Model Y. They had the salesperson teach him about the car in his driveway. Best delivery ever compared to the unpleasant experience of the dealership. Yeah, so sometimes you still get people that care and they do the right thing. Other times they say, "Hey, there's YouTube, have fun." And it's
I want to know when that Y was delivered.
Recently, according to this post. And well, for me, they offered to do all that, but I knew more than the salesperson for the Model X. And for the Model S, I bought it used from Ford. And they when I came in for my first service, the charge port door had failed. I still knew more than the person, but they did show me some stuff I didn't know, and I did appreciate that. But,
hey, see, don't you love that, man? Don't you just love that when you know more than the salesperson?
But that would happen at the Toyota and Honda too when I was into hybrids. Like I'd read the manual before I showed up.
Wait a minute, that happened to me with my delivery on my Model Y. So when I went there, the delivery person wasn't the original delivery person that I was gonna have originally because she was on vacation. It was another guy, and he was less experienced. And what happened is, when I was going through the car and going over it and everything, and I was testing. I wanted to test everything, make sure everything worked on the car before I even took it off the lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's inspect. It was doing that FU lift.
so one of the things that I wanted to look at was the emergency, release on how to get out the car, make sure that worked.
Yeah.
The delivery person, he didn't even know how that worked. He didn't even know that was there in the rear on how to get out, on how to do the emergency release in the rear. He didn't know how it worked or how to do it. I also wanted to pop off the cover for my my tow hitch. He didn't know how to do that. He went and got somebody else to come out and do it. So
I want to make sure it was in there.
It was, oh yeah, absolutely. I paid for it. It better be there.
Right. Well, I mean, if they can send a car down with a white door trim on one side and a black door trim on the other side, I'd want to check.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're not the only ones who have done this in the past. I mean, I've seen this on every manufacturer. I haven't seen it on a delivery on like a Bentley or something, but I've seen their cars come through with mismatched parts as well.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, my car was pretty good. Like, just about everything was good. I did have a small panel gap issue, which I pointed out to them, and I actually made an appointment for them to fix it.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna do it mobile, or you gotta bring it in?
Which, that's the odd thing. So I made the appointment in the app, and they have it settled for mobile. Okay. And I'm like, can they fix a panel gap mobile? Like, I thought that would be something that they would have to do in the shop. So
it depends on where.
I guess they think they can do it mobile. So have at it. Well, while they're at it, they're also going to install my home.
Your home link.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So Zach's other point was on our previous story. He said less computer chips for Amazon vehicles, and any complaints can be handled privately. Much better use of batteries and the maximum environmental CO2 reduction. So yeah, that's another great point of of Rivian focusing on Amazon, is you don't have all these rich people with loud complaints, other than the people who are getting their delays. And it can really train your staff and your manufacturing crew and your service centers and your mobile techs. They can really get things started before they're interfacing with the public, because that can go any number of ways. I mean, it would be really nice for them to handle the initial deliveries, but ultimately I think that their most impact is going to happen from these Amazon vans, and then later on when they start servicing other fleets as well, or even just offer that van up without the Amazon paint job. So Omar brought us a story a couple of weeks ago about a Joby. He and Dan did, actually. So the Joby, this one is from Omar today. Joby did their first 150-mile flight for their range expansion test. This is what, a 6 or 8 passenger vehicle, Omar?
I forget.
It's autonomous?
But it's autonomous. It's electric. It's a vertical takeoff and landing. I like it.
And having more range means that they can do more zero emission trips, and taking more than just one person means that they are increasing their people miles per fuel efficiency. Oh, interesting. They just kept it close to home. That's cool.
Yeah, in case it ran out, I guess they wanted it to be close.
Right, and then they went to Lake Tahoe. I wonder if this will lower the Uber Air costs.
Yeah, so the idea behind this is that they want to get these going in mass, and then they'll be basically electric air taxis, and they're supposed to cost an affordable amount that people can just freely travel.
It's pretty cool stuff. The Model Y delivery was on Wednesday. First, he thought it was for me. I was like, I can't afford it, so I pay off my Tesla. Nice.
On Wednesday.
Oh, so I wonder if they did the same thing they did to you and Steph, where they just were moving the dates around, so he didn't know it was his.
Yeah, he didn't even know it was his, which is interesting because
Nice.
it just showed up. He's like, wait a minute.
They are so trifling. Like, I'm sorry.
He said he had a great experience, though. The delivery salesperson was like really good and knowledgeable and covered everything with him, which is
I
nice.
have a good delivery
everything.
It shows up and you don't even know that it's yours.
So Dan thinks that delivery and sales should be subject matter experts or reasonable knowledge to hand over consumers. I agree, but the problem is Tesla doesn't pay very much, so you have to pay to get that kind of dedication. And yeah, you have stock options, but the folks that can afford to live on what they pay in the meantime generally are younger, and generally, not all of them, but a lot of them are focused on other things, like, going to the beach, going on dates. So it's going to be a delicate balance until they get the manufacturing prices in check that they can then spend anything more on personnel.
And that's probably why it's so hit and miss, with what you're going to get.
You get people who give a care and others that don't.
Care.
Right.
Yep. So on 28th of July, Giga Berlin critics were taking another stand with new legal action. They went to the they had just been defeated at the Brandenburg Higher Administrative Court. The judge said nope and kicked him out, and now they are trying again. I don't understand these people. Just follow the money is all I can say. Follow the money, and you'll figure out why this environmental group is fighting something that's going to be good for the environment. Especially if they keep saying stuff like, oh, they're going to use too much water or they're going to pollute. Have you looked at any of their other factories? They don't do this. And if they are lying to the government on how much water they plan to use and how much waste they're going to produce, there are consequences from a company that hates spending money. So they're not going to generate themselves massive fines.
Right.
What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's clearly, like you said, follow the money and then make it make sense.
So, I told you I was going to talk more about Rivian. Rivian is planning to invest $5 billion in their second U.S. plant. And it's not all. I don't know if I've listed it or not, but they're also planning a third plant.
Where's that third plant going to be?
The third plant is in Europe or the UK. Yeah, I guess the UK is in Europe, but I think it's in the UK, but it's definitely in Europe.
The third plant, but they haven't delivered their first truck.
That's exactly what Eddie would say.
That part.
You've got a handful of Amazon test vehicles.
Well, wait a minute. They have delivered their first truck.
Do they count? Those are test vehicles.
They delivered it to Amazon, and they delivered to
delivery
Blue Origin.
Vans.
They delivered trucks to Blue Origin.
Blue Origin doesn't count. Those are definitely tests. They got the wraps on
them. I'm trying to help them out here.
I'm looking forward to somebody getting one, and then when I visit my family in Atlanta, I'd love to rent one on Turo.
Yes,
to kick around.
I can't wait to try them, but I need a customer delivery for that to happen.
Right.
Unless they're pulling an Amazon or a Tesla and investing in infrastructure, I don't understand why they're focused on two new plants before the first one is producing.
Jeff Bezos is talking to them. This is how you do
why aren't they? I mean, you would think that they would focus on the first plant and kicking them out and ramping it up and getting vehicles out the door, start making some money, and then from there focus on additional plants.
Yeah,
that's also what Tesla.
It's really odd that they're focusing on plants versus actually getting the line out the door, because one of the things that you got to do is you have to figure out how to build your line, your actual assembly line and everything else, and you're going to make mistakes along the way. So you're going to learn really by doing
the first
it.
One,
so
build the first one, figure it out.
Yeah.
Once you get the first one up and rolling, and then you're learning from your mistakes and you're making improvements and everything else, then you can build your second plant, which you can then
more optimized.
Build around
the
optimization of what you learned from the first plant.
And that's the key difference between Tesla and Amazon and what Rivian is doing here is Amazon was already selling stuff. They already had warehouses. They had an idea of what they wanted to do. Tesla had the one plant, and prior to having the plant they had that garage they were using to build Roadsters. So they were producing at some level. Thank you, Zach. Oh, we really appreciate it. I think I've got a bamboo straw right here. That's awesome. Thank you. So I think that the key difference is that you want to have some of your processes proven and actually be delivering to customers before starting any additional plants. And now at the same time, Tesla was building 2 plants at once before the first other 3 were finished. I mean, Fremont was done, obviously, and they're continuing to ramp on it. But Shanghai is in a state of continual expansion, and then Austin and Berlin are both going up at the same time. But they are
they're producing. So Fremont's already had already
Nevada's like paused.
Fremont was producing for years before they did Shanghai. Shanghai was producing already before they started Giga Texas and Berlin. And so they're doing so they're building Berlin and Texas at the same time, and they're expanding Shanghai, but at least Shanghai is still producing. So they're still kicking out product.
I thought they did a spec. For those on the audio, Dan asked, "Is it a good thing? It's a good thing that Rivian's not public yet." Lol. I thought they did a spec, or is it not done yet?
I don't think that was done yet.
Oh, okay. Then it's a good thing they're not public. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, Tasha Keeney at Medium writes that Ark Invest estimates that autonomous driving could expand the ride-hail market to an $11 to $12 trillion opportunity. Mad money.
And that could make, and if Tesla can actually get their full self-driving actually to work correctly and actually be full self-driving, not just an idea of full self-driving, then yes, that could be worth a lot of money.
Well, if you look at the boring tunnels, they have one right now and it's expanding, and then they have another one up for competitive bids. That would be a good place to demonstrate your full self-driving tech. And then
but that's such a controlled environment.
In a boring tunnel,
that wouldn't really that wouldn't be a good proof of concept, considering that it's so controlled.
Oh, I can drive through that with my eyes closed.
I'm not saying it's a proof of concept. I'm saying that this further adds to her point. I mean, when you consider that the rides in the Las Vegas loop are going to cost, or the expanded Las Vegas loop are going to cost half of what Uber or Lyft charges.
That is part of this. Then that could be. You're right. They should definitely be able to make money off of that, considering the fact that once they have that autonomous doing, and they should be able to get that to be autonomous before.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Street ready.
And then you've got Waymo operating in their walled gardens, and then you've got Cruise expanding their walled gardens to another city. So, I mean, even if you have to do it their way of just mapping everything out, and then having remote control drivers, that's still one driver can drive 10 cars at that point. And then they're all electric. Well, the Cruises are electric. The Waymos are plug-in electrics. They're hybrids. Yeah. But it only makes sense to make them electric. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually they'll go electric.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
And then
but what they need to figure out is autonomous charging.
Yes. Well, you can do that wirelessly, or you can do a snake charger, or you can do like the buses and have pads come in from the top or the bottom and take care of it.
Yeah, that's fine. There's multiple ways of doing it. They just have to figure it out and just
how to do it. Yeah,
land on one and do it,
or license one, because obviously if the buses can do it, then it's already out there commercially. You just need to figure out if it's worth reinventing. JB Strobel, his recycling firm gets another $700 million investment round. Redwood Materials is going to be recycling lithium batteries, or batteries in general, but specifically lithium.
Well, that's good because, everybody says, oh, well, what happens to the batteries when you can no longer use them? Now you're polluting more than the fossil fuels. No, you're still not polluting more than fossil fuels, but yes, it's good. More battery.
Right. It's like I keep saying, nobody's going to throw away a $10,000 used dead battery. I mean, even if you can't use it because it's dead, it's still got a lot of material in it.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
So this needs to be published. More people need to know that this is happening. Because I get that same argument all the time, Omar. Oh, I heard there's big pits where they're throwing these batteries in. They're not doing that. There's too much valuable material in these batteries.
I've had people ask me, well, how many times did you have to change your batteries over the years? Don't you have to change your batteries every 2-3 years?
No, it's not.
I've done one 12-volt and one main pack on 2 cars. Across 2 cars.
I've never done the main pack, and I've only done the 12-volt.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of a couple of engineers.
Which
is the same for a gas car. But I mean, if my pack hits 60% and I could still take it and run my house on it, oh my God. It would be like, that's still more than 5 power walls.
Yes.
Right. It's still... So when it becomes to the point where, oh, this is not really useful in a car, then it can still be used for home storage. Then your
pack will think it retired to the retirement village. It's like, oh, this is all I have to do?
It's still useful, right?
Yeah,
right.
And then eventually, when it's no longer useful for that's when it gets recycled. Well, you know what?
That's 30 years. That's 40 years later.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, we're still seeing original Volt and Nissan Leaf packs doing building backup and renewable buffers. What were you saying, Stephanie, before we talked over you?
No, I was just saying, like, if only Tesla would invest in marketing and education.
But then it would take even longer to get your car.
But if they had a PR department,
some of those hirings and get some, people to do an education campaign, and you wouldn't have to.
Yeah,
and they don't have to hire a ton of people because of social media. They really could just hire a couple of people.
I totally disagree because I think social media is filled with Tesla bros that are bullies, and a lot of people really go in hard because they think
you're right about that. You're right about that. But if it's coming from the official Tesla source, if it's coming from the official Tesla accounts, if it's coming from, you can hire just a couple of PR people to put your message out there to educate people. And it's coming from the official Tesla source. They could do that by having those people on payroll working for them and doing that for the company from the official source.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying,
and what I'm saying is that doesn't have to cost them a ton of money because they only got a couple people on payroll.
I think it's mostly just a mentality change. Like, I think that Elon is like, I don't have, like, kind of like how Starbucks was back in the day. Like, we don't have to advertise, like, our customers do the advertising for us. And they switched that. But I think that it's just a mindset that, like, it has to be bigger than just like selling cars. And I think that, if it was like from official Tesla, like employees that was their job, run an education campaign, I think that there would be, then individual people wouldn't feel so like responsible for trying to educate people and get in these stupid social media battles where
I'll protect you, Elon.
Yeah. That's a huge turn off. Like, I don't want to be like, people are like, oh wait, you bought a Tesla? I mean,
you're gonna be one of them?
Yeah. Like, so I think that but I do think
it's kind of like the bad stigma that BMW drivers have had.
Yes.
Never use their blinkers.
Yes. But I think that people wouldn't feel so compelled to go out and like, address all this false information if Tesla was actually being doing their job and doing it themselves.
Right. And that's the beauty of that statement that Elon made a couple of weeks ago, where he said, okay, maybe it's time that we spend some of our advertising budget, because they do have an advertising budget. They don't have a media budget, but maybe they should use some of their advertising budget to do a campaign, an education campaign. And right now their advertising money goes into stuff like building superchargers and doing test drives and hosting events. But you can reach a lot more people if you are actually trying to than doing the onesie twosies to sell cars.
Yeah.
So hopefully they make good on that pontificating, and he actually does an education campaign. It doesn't have to be an advertising campaign. It can be, hey, this is all EVs. It doesn't have to be these Teslas. Just like he does with the schools, the STAR or the START program. I always mess it up. Where they take young folks that want to learn how to be a mechanic. They teach them how to work on all EVs. The whole program is all EVs, and then the last semester they specialize on Tesla. And then if they pass the whole program, they have a job at a Tesla service center or at the factory.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so if they could do that mindset, but just for educating the public, that would be awesome. So Ray for Tesla tweets that Tesla China has revised delivery estimates for the Model 3 Standard Range Plus and Performance to 4 to 6 weeks, down to 1 to 3 weeks. Made in China Model Y Long Range has the shortest turnaround of 1 to 3 weeks. And then a bunch of people are saying, "Oh, another band, huh?"
So Stephanie needs to go to China to get.
Oh wait, I said that backwards. So the popular ones, the Performance and the Standard Range, they're popular because people like me that like to go fast and people that like to save money.
That's me.
They are 4 to 6 weeks, and then the good range one is currently 1 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Wait, so
1 to 3 weeks?
They still have the option for the short range or standard range.
Yeah, they still offer standard range Model Y in China, and they offer, but the Model 3 standard range and Performance are 4 to 6 weeks, and the Model Y long range is 1 to 3 weeks in China.
Meanwhile, I'm 4.
They're already making them so fast in China.
4 months in.
China, 12-hour shift. Get on that machine.
Is it also the battery composition?
Yeah. So don't forget also the Chinese.
Right.
Yeah. And so if they make more standard ranges, that gives them more battery cells to use in the Performance and the long range. And if they sell less long ranges, then they can make more standard ranges.
Say that one more time.
What?
So,
say that one more time, Casey.
If they make more standard ranges.
No. About the machine.
Get on the machine. 12-hour shift. They work different over there.
Well, they do have different labor laws.
I had a flashback there for me when I was a teenager.
Oh wow.
So the in China they do have different labor laws. They do have different, they are very different. However, even with the U.S. labor laws, you can keep a factory going 24/7. It's not like you can't have different shifts of people just.
But you need materials, so everything being
that's
available in China. Yeah.
That's that part.
Yeah.
The materials.
Yeah. Materials, the boards, the plastic, everything
chips.
is already there in China. The chips, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the chips aren't necessarily in China, but they're really close.
Right.
So Dan is saying, would the PR be needed for Bentley Rolls Royce? No. They could do just like Tesla and sell it, and then have weird nerds back them up and fight the FUD. But they're going to run into the same problem that Tesla has, where people say, "Oh, that BMW is just burning coal," and unless Tesla does the PR for all EVs, then that will still be there for the Bentleys and the Rollses and stuff. And yeah, Tesla does have an advertising budget. It's right there in the financial filings. They just don't spend it on the media. Yep. So this is really cool about there being so much demand that in China it's being slowed down even there. But also, if you pick the right one, you can get to the front of the line. As we saw with the Model Y standard range with the Mustang Club in China, they all switched from Mustangs to Model Y standard ranges. All right, so this one was. Let me stand back on that one. All right, so let's go to Tesla battery supplier CATL, CATL, unveils their first-gen sodium-ion batteries. Bazinga! And
sodium ion.
Sodium ion, Na.
So they're using salt. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't drive that car. It's bad for my high blood pressure. As long as I don't lick it, I should be okay.
Right. China CATL announced a sodium-ion battery along with a battery pack solution at its first online event, the Tech Zone. The battery pack solution, according to the company, can integrate sodium-ion cells and lithium-ion cells into a single pack. Oh, that's even more interesting because you can then mix and match. Sodium-ion will further use the use of clean energy, promoting early realization of the goal of carbon neutrality, the company said. The first-generation sodium-ion batteries confer advantages of high energy density and fast charging, thermal stability, and great low-temperature performance. So, good luck. We need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Any research you're doing, any R&D, anything that's going to, further and improve, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Have at it.
The Model 3 standard
Can you
range
imagine?
Plus.
Can you imagine if we put this amount of effort into battery and electric technology over the last 100 years versus putting all that effort into making gas engines better?
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be so much further along right now than we are now.
That's kind of the point I was going to make earlier when we were talking about why we don't have the $25,000 EV yet. It's just that infrastructure to build these components faster and cheaper. It's just not there compared to 100 years of developing that with gas cars.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Eddie, yes, some people actually did see a Tesla commercial. It just wasn't paid by Tesla. There have been a lot of spec ads out there, and there's even one playing in New York right now on the big screens on the side of the buildings. So they're real, just not from Tesla or paid. So the Model 3 Standard Range Plus is about to become even more competitive in China. Teslarati is reporting that Tesla's official Weibo account has revealed that the entry-level vehicle is going to have a price cut of 15,000 RMBs. So it is now just 235,900 RMBs. This is the starting price after subsidy.
So what's that in dollars?
I don't know. Stand by. Copy, paste to USD.
Leave it to Steph.
That's $42,724. So it's actually still more expensive than our Model 3 SR not Plus.
How much? I missed that.
$42,700.
Okay, and then the price decrease was how much?
10,000 of their money, Chinese yuan. So let's see. 10,000. 1,580.
Yeah, but the fact is, they had a decrease and we had increases.
Yeah.
Well, we've had increases and they've had increases as well, but they're trying to balance production because if we're buying them faster than they can build them, they'll raise the price so they sell less. And if we're not selling enough, then they'll lower the price. So it makes sense. The space station is stable after an earlier unplanned MLM thruster firing. They connected a new module from Russia, and then the thing started firing its thrusters and pushed it out of orbit. Or not out of orbit, but out of the correct orbit. And they managed to shut them down and get things back under control. They don't know why yet, and I am curious to find out what happened. That's scary.
Yeah, that is scary. Because we don't want that thing falling out of the sky yet.
Or being pushed to the point where we can't get our people back.
That too.
Yeah.
push it out into deep space. Like, wait a minute, they're gone. We need to send supplies up.
Yeah, that'd be
I
terrible.
feel, wasn't there a Matt Damon movie like that?
I believe so.
I think that's what happened to George Clooney in
That's right.
in that one. Yeah.
They always make space movies like that.
Getting scared about going to space.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where what could possibly go wrong? Yes, that could possibly go wrong and could happen.
And then make a movie out of it.
Then they make a movie out of it.
So the White House wants 40% of new U.S. cars to be electric by 2030.
I don't think that's aggressive enough.
No, of course not. Especially since so many places requiring it fully electric by 2035. So they should be able to just do this with their eyes closed.
Yeah,
it goes back to what we said before. We got to get the new car prices down, getting the supply chains going, more awareness of EVs in the public, and then if Congress is serious, well, the president said that he's got to get Congress on board with putting the incentives in the reconciliation bill. So I don't think none of the incentives made the bipartisan bill. But
Yeah.
If they can get the incentives in the reconciliation bill, then we can see more uptake of EVs. I mean, the Chevy Bolt will be basically free if you can
Right?
get
I mean,
12,000.
Well, and it needs to be like an instant discount and not.
Yeah. Not on the taxes
off the
later.
sticker price. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. California's doing it like that. It's right off. Right as soon as you order it, it's right there. It comes off the sticker price, and they can do
Yeah,
that.
New Jersey's doing that.
It's only $1,500.
Yeah.
But it's something.
Dan, I don't think it was bullying. I think it was just another oversight on their part, just like the
That
holes
was a
in their
malfunction. Yeah, that
the
I don't
holes
think
in their
they.
existing module. Yeah. They got to have more EV trucks, absolutely. And thankfully, everybody's working on an EV truck this year. So hopefully,
Yeah, we'll start seeing that next year.
Yeah, I was about to say hopefully next year will be the year of the EV truck. So this is a video I'm about to watch. I haven't seen it yet, but I do know the result. So they take a Model X with the 22s off-road against the Panda, and the Model X with its race tires fails. So I think it'll be fun to watch. So I will. But I can't help but to think that if they put on proper off-road tires,
It's a Model X. They're not even comparing
yeah.
You're comparing like apples to furniture. Like it's not even the same. It's not even the same category.
Exactly. So then there was a race from Brooks from Drag Times against the Model S Plaid versus the Porsche Taycan Turbo first Porsche Taycan Turbo S. That thing is a mouthful. On a quarter-mile drag race. And, you've got a 700 horsepower car versus a 1,000 horsepower car, as Brooks repeated several times throughout several videos. And we all know what happened.
It's kind of obvious what happens there.
Yeah, so the Model S eats the lunch of the Taycan S and Turbo S. And so right after the race, the owner of this Taycan is on his phone. He's ordering a Model S Plaid. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm ordering a car. They're like, no. And they showed him his screen. They're like, yeah, I'm ordering the Model S.
Does the Model S owner then buy the Taycan owner lunch because the Model S has so much change back after he bought the car?
No.
Hey, I wanted to use his referral code.
That part.
I was just about to say, wait a minute.
I'd be like, hey, did you put that order in yet? Use my referral code.
Get some of these miles.
Yeah, we both get some miles.
If that was somebody I know and we cool like that, you order and you use my referral code, we got issues.
Right.
Right.
That part.
We ain't friends.
Yes. So Bentley is launching a flying Spur plug-in hybrid vehicle with lavish Odessian addition.
Woo! Look at
According to
that.
Inside Reviews. It does look nice.
Wow.
My problem with it is that it has a combustion engine.
What?
Yeah. I wonder what the EV range is.
Looks like 1972 called and wants his style back.
So it can go 25 miles on a charge.
25 miles.
How far?
Golden Raindrop, Cape Dress. Oh, yes, I love it.
All right.
It's pretty, but I mean, it's only 25 miles of EV range.
Oh, yeah.
But it might get them closer to 12 miles per gallon.
Man, my local Walmart, I use that going from my house to my local Walmart.
Right. The Martian is Matt Damon. Gravity is George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
Gravity.
Oh yeah, Gravity. Yeah, I remember that.
So this one isn't exactly EVs and clean living, but it is animal cruelty, or the lack of animal cruelty, I should say. So this study by, I believe, the Australian Air Force, they did a study of drones versus dogs on sheep herding. And they found that the sheep had a heart rate of 200 and some change when they were being herded by dogs, and only 160 something when they were being herded by drones, versus their resting heart rate of around 60 to 80. So they determined.
Well, they see the dogs as a bigger threat to them.
Yeah. But the connection here is that, it's nice to the animals. The drones are EVs, and it's
instead
doing
of
the right
scaring
thing.
them, you're just annoying them.
Right, that part. So now they're going to run because you've made them mad, versus running because they're scared for their lives.
Who paid for that study? Like
the Australian Air Force.
Oh.
or the University of New South Wales.
PETA.
One of the two.
Or somebody, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I thought
that's
it was
interesting, though.
Yeah.
That is interesting. So the drones were more animal friendly.
Exactly.
Who
knew? According to Autoblog, Rivian has filed to trademark 6 new pickup and SUV names. Again, Eddie.
Rivian, okay.
Rivian.
That's great. You okay? So you got more names. Okay.
They got 3 factories, 6 names, no trucks.
Right.
All right. So I don't know where I put them in the topic, but this is a perfect segue into Trevor Milton and Nikola.
Oh.
Yeah. So that came up this week. That
scam.
He was found guilty on 3 counts, I believe, of fraud.
Well, he was defrauding people.
Mm-hmm.
They literally pushed a truck down a hill and said they had a working truck. Like,
right. It was rolling, but they implied that it was rolling under its own power.
But I thought that was reported like when it happened, exactly when it happened too, a while back.
This is a while back, but he finally had his day in court and was found guilty of at least three counts of fraud. Yeah.
He looked kind of arrogant about it too.
Mm-hmm. I didn't like that they kept comparing him to Tesla. I mean, like, they weren't on the same level at all. Yeah, there was no comparison. Like, he had no products. He didn't prove his technology worked. Versus comparing them to an actual running company. I mean, I would have been mad for Fiat if he compared them to what used to be what Stellantis was before they became Stellantis. Yeah, so I would have been mad if they compared him to a backyard car builder, because at least the backyard car builder is building a car.
Right.
Go ahead, Omar. I'm sorry.
If they would have compared him to Karma or whatever, I would have been mad. Like,
right? Yeah, because at least Karma is building an old car that somebody else made. Although I saw Kyle Connor over at Inside EVs and Out of Spec Performance. I saw that they did a nice little refresh on it. It's still a plug-in hybrid, but it's nicer than it was. All right, so now one more Rivian story before I go to this one that I've been moving around. Rivian has expanded its testing of its electric fleet in vans to Michigan. So that goes with the sighting story. So eventually Amazon will have their vans running nationwide and then worldwide. So let me move these all down together. Oops, that's Panda. All right, so the first story is by Teslarati. Tesla Megapack system in Victoria gets closer to grid connection. They were lining up for a test, right? So, done. Next story. That same Megapack catches fire during testing. But it was just 1 megapack. 1. And they put it out. So instead of being 150 megapacks, wait, no, that's when it was completed. So it's now 1 megapack less than they had planned because it failed that particular part of the test.
49 ain't bad.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, this is during a testing phase.
Right, during the testing.
Test. So it's not like, oh, this thing was in use for, 2 years or a year or 6 months or whatever, and then it just burst into flame.
Literally everything that Tesla tests catches on fire.
Or explodes.
The rocket.
I mean, that's why you have
the gigapress.
That's what tests are for. Yeah,
that's why you have tests.
I was
so when it fails, your breaking point. All right, well, that was the breaking point there.
Yeah, don't do that again. So I was most annoyed that this news agency, I think this was them, they made right there. So they made it look at all the extra flames and the orange they added. that was uncalled for.
That was definitely uncalled for.
Because so let me share this other screen.
All the Victoria's on fire.
Right. Close this one. Because
Australia already has PTSD from fires when
right?
half the country burnt up last year.
But just 2 hours later, they got approval to connect on that site. So obviously it passed the tests. But none of the news organizations, particularly that one that added the flames, the extra flames, reported that that hey, they got their approval 2 hours later after the fire. So they could.
Because that's not what sells clicks.
Of course. So instead of 212 packs coming online, they had 211 packs come online. They could.
Cool.
I'm willing to bet the story the outlets reported the fire. They won't be testing. Well, yeah.
Where's the power coming from to be stored here?
It's coming from a solar and wind farm, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. They've got a couple of plants out there, so I think this one is solar and wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So then I've got some bad news for us. Electrify America will begin to phase out CHAdeMO outside of California in 2022.
Looking at that one. Why is that bad?
What am I going to do with my CHAdeMO adapter?
Not use a DEA?
Didn't you just buy that, Omar?
Did I just what?
Didn't you just buy that?
Oh, no, he's had that.
No. My CHAdeMO adapter, I've had it for 7 years.
Yeah. He and I both got our CHAdeMO adapters when we got our cars.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I had the CHAdeMO adapter before I had my car.
I think I might be the same. Mine is going to get updated tomorrow, hopefully.
That thing is
I don't know if there are any updates for it. They're ginormous. Yeah.
Right. I mean, just the J772 adapter is nice and elegant. You just plug it in and go. But the CHAdeMO is like, that's a lot of infrastructure.
Bulky. It is bulky.
So their excuse was that Nissan in the U.S. is going CCS, and in Europe they're going CCS. So basically, you only get to see CHAdeMO in Japan, and in China they've actually got the Chinese. Cars? That's what I kept saying, and so they're not taking out any stations that are CHAdeMO. They're just not putting any new ones in. So if you bought a Leaf today, then good luck, because they still make new Leafs today, and they still use CHAdeMO.
We've got to have a standard. This is you can't.
Yeah, we do now. It's CCS.
It's CCS. Right. That's the standard now.
But then that'll just be the standard, because you can't have people coming from gas cars to EVs. They don't think about, well, what's charging standard is my car going to have? You just pull up and you just plug it in, and it works. And it needs to be the same way with EVs.
Well, it is now.
So that was the thing. So that was the same problem they had. So years ago, this was when Tesla developed their plug. The problem was there was no standard.
Right.
So they developed theirs, which I think was the most elegant way of doing it. It's the smallest, it's the most elegant plug that does both DC and AC. You can do fast charging or whatever on it. Right. They developed theirs. And then everybody else wanted to have, we should develop this other standard. Let's do Japan with CHAdeMO. And then they were like, well, no, we should go with this other standard. They developed CCS. And It's like, well, okay, well, everybody needs to get on the same page. And unfortunately, Tesla had already dumped tons of money into building out this infrastructure, building out these superchargers everywhere, which is something that nobody else did, right? So instead of saying, you know what, let's just go with what they've already proven works, they've already built out. It's already like everywhere. No. Everybody wants to stick their guns. We're sticking with our standard. No, we're sticking with ours. Finally, they decided to settle on CCS being the standard, which is what everybody's like moving over to. But it's like, it's a hot mess.
Yeah.
But even CCS is big and bulky. I mean,
well, the CCS
Compared
is
to
combined
Tesla,
charging
yeah,
standards, so they took the existing J1772 and just added DC pins to the bottom of it.
right.
But the allegations are that the reason it took so long to come up with J1772 is Tesla was in with everybody else on this advisory board with the Roadster trying to come up with a solution, and well, it wasn't ready in time for the Roadster, so Tesla made up the TSLA1 connection, and that was the one on the Roadster. And then it wasn't ready for the Model S, so they made up the Tesla 2 connector, which is what we see today in the U.S., South Korea, and Japan. And so the allegations were that they were trying to wait Tesla out, make them die. And because if they don't have a way to plug in their electric car, then their electric car doesn't succeed. They failed miserably at strangling Tesla. But Tesla did use, on both cars, they did use the J1772 standard signaling because the signaling was done. The signaling was done from back in the days of the EV1 and the Ford and the Ford Ranger plug-in and the Toyota RAV4 plug-in Gen 1.
Didn't Chevy have an S110
and Chevy S10? Yeah.
S10? Yeah.
So they all use the same signaling, but they had the Avcon connector, which was basically a flat J1772, and they had the wireless the induction charging. So they just took that same signaling and put it into the Tesla connector and the J1772. But the thing was, they charge at much higher amperages than those old connectors could ever dream of reaching, and they're much cheaper connections as well. So that's the history on that.
So the fact that the signaling is the same is good because then that means you can make an adapter.
Yes.
And because the signaling is the same, an adapter should work.
Now in Europe, Tesla is using. Tesla was forced to add CCS to all their cars, right? To all their superchargers. Is it CCS?
So they were using the Type 2 connector there because Europe came up with their standard and settled on it before Tesla moved over to that continent. And then they decided to also go CCS for theirs. So they put the 2 pins on the bottom of the Type 2 connector. Whereas Type 2 is capable of both, unlike J1772, Type 2 is capable of both AC and DC on the same connector. But Tesla and one other were the only ones to actually use that option. And then the other one went CCS. So then when Germany said, hey, every car sold here will use CCS, then Tesla went CCS everywhere for Europe. And it was, that's their EU standard.
Right.
CCS Type 2. Yeah.
So then ultimately, in the end, I don't know what's going to happen in the U.S. then. Is Tesla going to eventually go CCS here?
No.
Or...
So they're going to do when they start sharing the superchargers is they're going to make adapters for the other cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So bye-bye to them all.
That's right. So I don't understand what they're going to do about the current Nissan Leafs on sale. I mean, you're going to be stuck local with them, even if you have the I think even the base model now has CHAdeMO built in. You'll have to. They don't make adapters except for Tesla. So,
well, Nissan will have to make an adapter.
Well, it's not that easy because the CHAdeMO uses different signaling than CCS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so Zachary goes back to a point that we had earlier. He said the Rivian lineup of EVs is like the lineup of all my girlfriends in Canada when I was a kid. They'll all be beautiful cheerleaders. Yes. So Electrify America's reasoning for that was that since Nissan is going CHAdeMO on the Nissan Ariya, and I think maybe future Leafs will have it, but that doesn't do anything for the one on sale today. That's the part I don't get. Also, you can get a third-party adapter for the Tesla to charge on CCS instead of CHAdeMO. But that's third party and it's expensive, even more expensive than the Tesla option. So I don't. The good thing is they're not taking out existing plugs, but and this doesn't affect you in California, so you can buy a Leaf in California and still travel the whole state. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to leave California.
Because the fires might force me out. But these adapters, they're so expensive. It becomes, what's the point in getting one?
Kia did go CCS. They were originally CHAdeMO as well.
Right. I mean, even for me, I lost my J772 adapter, and replacing it was like $100.
Yeah.
And
but it's got to do 80 amps at 240 volts, so that's why that one.
Right, but I found a place where I can charge for free, but I only saved like $9 twice a week. It took almost a year to recoup the cost of replacing the thing.
I understand, but then you got to look at how much does a tow cost.
It's not so much it's not so much just the cost of it, but it's the convenience factor and the availability.
Right. But look at how much a tow will cost you.
Right.
At least I can stop. Right.
Yeah. So Breakneck Trent is asking about the odds of a compact model reveal at AI Day. That's going to be on August 19th. I don't know. What about you guys? What do you think?
No.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it just yet.
Might be too early.
I think I think it's a little early because I think they're still a couple years away from that. That cheaper model. And I don't think they're going to reveal anything on that yet.
Yeah, but speaking of the cheaper model, Ray for Tesla says, let me just share it on screen. Ray for Tesla says the compact, cheaper model whatever, I call it Model Next, he calls it the Model whatever, may soon come sooner than you think. The prototype is said to have been completed and most component suppliers have been lined up. Trial production has been planned for the end of 2021. I would put weight on this rumor as it comes from a pretty reliable source, that name, but I don't know how to approach. He has brought several leaks to the surface before, which has turned out to be true. However, like anything else, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Take it with a grain of salt. So it's not impossible, Breakneck Trent.
Well, here's the thing. So trial production. So they're going to build an alpha car, maybe.
Yeah, they're going to do trial production will be the alpha build.
It's still going to be.
And the prototype is done.
How long ago was the Cybertruck reveal?
Right, that's what I would look at.
Yeah, and
that's
how
not
long
in production yet.
How long after it was done?
How long ago was the Roadster reveal?
Yeah,
that's not in production yet.
That's just 2 weeks.
And Tesla built how many $35,000 Model 3s?
They built a handful of them.
Right.
And now we're gonna go into $25,000 car. I don't think they're ready yet. No.
No.
No. What's the cheapest Model 3 now? $40,000, $39,995.
I think you can still get the timeshare pitch.
The what?
You got to call in and they got to tuck you down from the ledge, and you got to be really sure you want no options. Right. And in Canada, you can still get the one with 100 and some odd mile range.
Yeah. to get their EV,
which is crazy because they never wanted one with less than 200 range. But
the allowing that option to exist makes it so that they
could get the incentive.
I know it's the government. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
but even for that one, Casey, you still had to pay the full fee, and then they you have to pay the 37, and then they give you $2,000 back later.
Yeah. So over in Italy, the Dacia Spring is debuting, and the EV sales in Italy are growing. So, yay, more choices.
Ooh.
That's a funky, cool-looking little car. I like it. From what I understand, they're a budget brand in Europe.
You know what I like about that?
What's that?
It looks like a regular car.
It does, doesn't it? and their idea of making it stand out is just the orange trim and the sealed grille, not making it have bug eyes or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, got to put a grill on them to make them look regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad, I had a Model Y when I was visiting my family. My dad said, "I like that car, man, but it's just missing a grill."
don't need a grill.
A grill for.
You need a grill if you need to cool it. Other than that, you don't need a grill.
So we can put a picture of a grill on the car for you if you want.
You can order. They actually make a sticker kit. Jaewon Cho reports that Tesla has suspended the Model 3 long-range orders in South Korea. The company put a short message on the bottom of the long-range order button saying, due to supply shortage, customers can order in 2022. They sold out for the rest of the year.
Wow.
In South Korea. Wow. That's incredible. So you can get a Standard Range Plus or Performance in South Korea. Nothing in between. If you want it this year. But it makes sense because the Standard Range Plus uses less batteries, so you can make more of them. And the Performance, you make more money, so why would you stop that one? And they're going for Standard Range Plus is 54,791, and the Performance is 74,791. Yeah, add another set of 3 zeros to all of that. I made it too cheap. And the long range was only 59,990 and then 3 zeros, 1. It seems like it would be very affordable to do the step up. And Tesla said, no, we don't want you doing the step up anymore. You're going to step all the way up. No half measures here. Tesla Model S.
It's good to see that the demand is through the roof, because that means, you know, it's not like the demand is through the roof and all these people that are buying them were already in the EV space and already EV owners. So what that means is that there's a lot of people that are coming from gas cars that are going electric. And that's what we want to see. We want to see that hockey stick up, you know, that we want to see that exponential growth of people transitioning off of gas and going into electric.
Exactly. Let's see. Paste and go. What? Oh, darn it. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Almost there, I'm sorry. I thought that this would be easier to do than I thought it. Keep rotating, guys. All right, so Gally was asking if people are interested in electrifying their RV. And I think this goes back to the EV towing that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And so Lightship RV, they want to make a sustainably produced vehicle that you can tow. And they're hiring. Let me get there. Whoa, I don't want a new tab, sorry. Share this screen. Let me see if I want to share audio real quick. Yeah, we can share audio.
RVing is an awesome experience.
Sorry, I was missing it out.
Let's see if we can do one take without getting eaten alive. RVing is an awesome experience. To me, RVing means freedom on the road. At the same time, RVing is fundamentally hindered by gas and fossil fuels. And with millions of EV pickup trucks set to hit the roads over the coming years, RVing is only going to get harder.
We tried pulling an aerodynamic travel trailer from Colorado to California and had to hit every charger along the way. At one point, we actually had to drop the trailer and come back and get it after we charged up. It sucked.
Yeah, it was a serious challenge. We are Lightship, and we are redesigning the RV. Imagine an RV that is designed like an EV. It is aerodynamic. It is all electric. The inside is modern and connected with a big, beautiful touch display. And on the roof, nothing but solar.
We want you to come join us. We're looking for engineers of all different backgrounds to come make the RVing experience better for everyone.
So I think this is a good mission, and so they're hiring. Yeah,
I like it a lot. Almost makes you want to consider RVing.
Yeah.
Not my thing, but
I like it. I'm not into the RVing, but I like it. I mean, I know a couple of people that are, so I think that would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
it can be the beginning of something excellent.
yeah, because that is that's such a huge limitation of towing it out there, and then once you get out there, how the heck do you charge it?
Honestly,
Come on,
I'd like
Rio.
to see electric RVs themselves, like the ones that power themselves. Not the...
yeah.
So I wonder if you can the battery put a battery on the RV, and as you're towing it, that would charge the battery of the RV, or would that take too much energy from your tow
Oh, you don't
car?
want to. You want
No,
to.
you don't want to do that. You
Yeah, you don't
add
want
so
to.
much drag. You don't want to do that.
But what you'd
Yeah.
like to see is the ability for the car to not lock the motor when you add charging from the trailer to the car, and then the car could not just push the EV, but the car could then charge the EV as well. That would be nice, or even just reduce the consumption. So the other Omar shared this tweet. So not the Omar you see here on the screen. He shared this tweet from Robert Llewellyn, who's sharing this tweet from Robin White. And he says it's absolutely glorious. Thank you for posting. Just popping out to the shops 2,000 miles away. And that's a joke about what this guy is. Every time I see people whining about the lack of 600-mile range, I think of this. And this guy is saying 2,000 miles a day isn't much. Honestly, I could drive that much in a day. And then this other guy in blue is saying, you can't. He said if you drove a steady 75 miles an hour without ever slowing down or stopping, it would take you over 26 hours to drive 2,000 miles, more than a day. And so then this guy doubles down. He says, well, assuming you're correct, let's suppose I didn't sleep to have more time in a day. I could probably make it. And what are your sources for your data? And then guy in blue, his sources are the math equation of 27,000 miles divided by 75 miles an hour.
75 miles an hour equals more than one whole day. 26.
It's called math. You should try it sometime. And then the guy in red doubles down again and says, I don't agree, but okay.
He's like, I'm not sure. I don't agree. Wait a minute. I do not agree with math. Math is what it is.
When you're on social media, you're always supposed to ask them what their sources are. So that's what he did.
Yeah,
his source was math.
I
mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, the trailer should have its own battery and solar. I agree. Breaknet, Trent, and Anders. Absolutely.
Oh, man.
You got a source on that?
He's arguing with math. Now he's arguing with math. I'm not so sure I agree.
Yes.
What's there to agree about? It's math.
Right. So in Europe, the plug-in car sales have surged in June of 2021. They had a number of new plug-in electric passenger car registrations of 237,934, which is a 157% increase from year over year, which is 19% of the overall market. So 19% of all cars sold in Europe were electric.
Nice.
That's good. It's way better than 3%. And so all electric cars in the majority for June was 10% share compared to plug-in hybrids at a 9% share. So even if they, for some reason, either are afraid to or can't afford to or whatever, go full EV, they are at least considering a plug-in hybrid. I'm not pooping on plug-in electrics. I'm just suggesting that they aren't the best solution, but they are better than just pure gas. But you also get the worst of both worlds with them. When you get them at a price savings over an EV, then it's a good set of training wheels. My first Volts, I would have only had one Volt if I didn't lemon the first one. So my first Volts, they showed me that 40 miles, 50 miles is plenty. It may feel like nothing, but it's plenty. And so then I was able to then jump into a used Tesla and then a new Tesla. So I know that my 200-mile range, it's a little more than that, is sufficient, especially when there's charging everywhere. So our friends at Green Mountain Power, they're the ones that are running that Powerwall test with the virtual power plant. They want to make their trucks as green as their energy. And they've shared with over at Electric a picture of their EV truck.
It looks like a Tonka toy.
It kind of does, but I think it's just because of the company colors. So they're going to purchase from Lion, and so Lion actually is already building school buses in the U.S. or for the U.S. I should say. I don't know if they're building in the U.S. So they're going to purchase a Lion 8 bucket truck and a Lion 6 truck for electrical maintenance crews in the field. They are Class 5 to Class 8 commercial trucks and all electric buses. They were founded in 2011. Not Green Mountain Power, but the Lion. I think that's the right move, especially if you're selling green power.
Absolutely.
I think I talked about this one already.
Heavy trucks, trucking industry, anything. I mean, eventually, all vehicles should get away from fossil fuels. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Elon liked this article. A new Austin community will come with standard Tesla solar panels and batteries. That's an article by Quartz.
Standard,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And why not? It's living the walk. And then Omar is talking about home solar and electric car. I'm sorry, Omar. Sorry, Marcus is talking about. Found this on Green Car Reports. Home solar and electric cars are converging, and it's about time. Go ahead and tell us about this article, Marcus.
Let me get it back up. Let me see. I had it up. It's not pulling up for me now. Sorry about that.
It's all right. So SunPower and Wallbox are going to make it a little easier to, it looks like, these guys. They're going to make it so that you can directly charge your car off of solar. So if you're not producing solar, your car is not charging unless you override it or it's nighttime. And that'll reduce the amount of conversions, which is nice. Last I saw, this thing used Chatamo, so hopefully they have a CCS version.
That's interesting because and it's going directly DC to DC.
Yeah, DC to DC.
Yep. Which is the right way to do that. And then
you can also pull power out.
So your car will charge slower. Well, yeah. So that's the thing about that's probably why they're using Chatamo.
Yeah,
because I know Nissan had that thing where it was bidirectional.
So is that a vehicle to grid device?
Exactly.
Okay, so you're gonna charge your car, but then you can also run the home from the device.
Correct.
Right.
Elon
I'm always concerned because what Elon said, why Tesla's not pushing the vehicle to grid directly. I know he's got the power walls, but if my power goes out and I start pulling from my car, I still got to get to work in the morning. So
right, but if you set a limit, then the house will just shut down when you hit the limit. And his other argument was, what if you take the car somewhere? Well, if I've taken the car somewhere, I don't care if the house has power.
I'm not there.
All my freeze pops. All my freeze pops.
Well, I can get a battery just for the fridge. I think one should remove all use of fossil fuel. Exactly, and that's the way that I roll. In fact, I took out the gas water heater at my last house, and they wouldn't let me put in a pure electric one, so I put in one that used even less gas because it's a natural gas neighborhood, so you can't go completely free of it yet. But as I'm looking at not renting, I'm also looking at either places I can remove the gas or not have it in the first place. Exactly. And then you look at the interior pollution that you do when you're cooking with gas. It's not good for the body.
No, so I'm looking.
But I like cooking with gas, though.
But induction, not the red eye garbage, but induction is actually more.
Now, induction, I would. Yes,
right. Thanks. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm looking at changing my gas range into induction.
Yep. And for the people who like to see the fire, I've heard that argument. I need to see the fire. Samsung makes a model that has little blue LEDs that look like flames, and they go more intense when you crank the knob up. So,
I mean, look at it. All my other appliances are GE, so it needs to match. But
GE makes a couple of induction models last time doing the checking.
But it's gonna pull some watts though, man. That thing.
Yeah, it does.
You have all the burners burning. You have 5 Gs.
Kilowatts, we're talking.
Right. So it'll
Right,
definitely go beyond. I'm going to be screaming at my wife, "You can't cook now. The solar's no solar. You can only cook between
you choose the stove or the oven, not both."
I might need to add some solar panels to my array.
Well, actually, you'd be fine as long as you don't run the dryer. You can run the stove and the oven if you already could run the oven and the dryer together.
Well, I have a lot of upgrading I need to do. I got the car and the solar, but the dryer and the stove, the range is still gas, and I check my heating too. So just a little at a time, but I'm getting there.
There was another. Go ahead. Right quick, since you talk about that, right quick, we built out here in this community where we at first I was kind of like, because they don't do gas out here. At first I was kind of didn't like it, but now I love it though. I see why though. Yeah. I'm glad we can't do gas out here.
And then we just heard in Michigan yet another set of home explosions. Just like randomly 3 homes exploded. Typically in the past that has been because of the natural gas line issues. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather not have my house explode randomly. It better be my fault.
Well, people can make the argument, Chevy Bolts was setting people's houses on fire, so.
Well, I mean, they recalled them again and said, don't park next to the house, so hopefully they come up with a solution to that sometime.
They ignited the gas line.
Oh! So this was another Elon-like. Teslarati put an article up and tweeted, and then Elon hit heart on it. Tesla's aluminum alloys patent hints at ultra-tough EVs that are cheaper to produce. And I'm assuming that has everything to do with gigacasting, because they're casting aluminum.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's really cool.
So basically, Tesla's going to build the Cybertruck. That's basically what they're saying.
It's going to be cheaper. So another thing that came, right? So GAO at 100 is reporting in a press release about the Government Accountability Office's statement on the Blue Origin Dianetics decision. So basically, it boiled down to they said that they did the contracting proposals and competition correctly. Kick rocks. So Jeff Hu needs to go figure out another way to get his moon lander to the moon, like pay for it himself.
Well, no, the customers are going to pay for it. That's
Well, that's what he said on his. He said, "Thank you, customers and employees, for putting me on the moon or into low Earth space, not even Earth." Anyone else looking into All Set E Homes, AATI, great investment or scam? I will defer to the other investors in the group. What do you guys think about this one? Take your time and look it up and let them know, and then we'll come back to it. So this one was fun for me to the point that I burned a Bloomberg article on it. So Tesla's Model 3 vaults to number 2 in Europe's June car sales ranks.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Last month it was narrowly beaten by Volkswagen AG's Golf. And then in June, they sold 66,350 Model 3s, which makes them number 25 overall year to date, with one car.
Mm-hmm. But this is all cars, not EVs.
All cars versus one model.
Correct.
Tesla. Did you see the latest what's inside? He charged his cars full lighting, and 2 AC units over 51 kilowatts. Is that the one where he's saying that he shouldn't have bought the second Powerwall or whatever? I have it in my queue, but I haven't seen it yet. I'll be watching it after this. So this one hits really close to home. Tesla's war against direct sales in wages on and with big win in Virginia. So this one is step in the right direction. Tesla is allowed now to place 3 new sales centers. Sales and service? Either way. They aren't allowed to open them, but they're allowed to place them, and it should be easier to get them open now. They want to put one in Central Virginia, and then 2 more in Northern Virginia. Or one's going to be in Arlington for some reason. I don't understand why you need one in Tysons and Arlington. But the Virginia Dealer Association had some choice words, and what's his name? Holcomb granted it, and who was this fool? Either way, the representative of VADA says much of that support revolves around the fact that... Oh, wait, no, I said that wrong. This is Bismali. So this is coming from Holcomb, the administrator. He's saying that the support is good. And where is the mealy mouth? So VADA says they took the easy way out. The decision, frankly, was not in compliance with the laws of Virginia. It was an easy way out. I don't believe the DMV in any way, shape, or form carried out its responsibility. Just shut up. So the next step is Tesla still needs a license issued by the Motor Vehicle Dealer Board to actually open these facilities, but they're now able to place the 3 stores. The locations aren't finalized, but as I said, they're looking at Charlottesville, Arlington. I can't remember the third place now. And I wanted to quote the law. So state laws in Virginia indicate that automotive manufacturers must sell their vehicles through independent franchise dealerships, except when there's no dealership available in the community to offer to offer companies vehicles in a manner consistent with the public interest. And I don't know. I mean, as a former car salesman, I don't know any car sales place that is offering the vehicles in the public interest. They're middlemen. They make a profit on the vehicle passing through their hands.
Right. So I guess it would be in the public's interest only because they service the vehicles there as well, and there's no other way to get the vehicles.
So they can get around the franchise if there's no dealership that can do it in a public interest. And since Tesla doesn't franchise, because if they allowed one franchise, they would have to stop all of their direct sales based on the way that all these state laws are worded. Then there's no dealer that can service them in the public interest.
Right.
Because there are none.
Right.
But on top of that, even if there were dealerships, I don't know that they... I mean, I don't hate the concept of dealerships, but you shouldn't be forced to use a middleman as a business owner. It should be your opportunity, your choice to do it the way you want. So if Polo wants to use JCPenney and Sears and whoever else to sell their shirts, they can, but they can also open their own store if they choose to. And if they have a contract with Sears and Penny saying that they can't open their own store, that's on them. But that's not coming from some governmental authority saying, "Oh, you've already got Sears and JCPenney, you can't sell shirts yourself." No.
Wait a minute. So you're advocating the concept of a free and open market?
I think I am.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so much of an issue, I think, if the dealer franchise model wasn't so horrible. I mean, it's just a terrible experience. And I go to buy my when I went to buy my first Tesla, I did it all at the Tesla store, but all they do is walk you through the online steps. They don't they don't sell the car.
Okay, now you put your credit card there,
right?
And then you call your bank, and then you call your insurance company, and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
I just wasn't ready to do it online myself, so they just did everything that I would have done for me. The second one, I did it while I was in my bed.
Right, in the phone.
Right.
Didn't even need a whole computer. Yeah. All right, so what Steven at Solving the Money Problem likes to call CNBS, they are reporting on earlier what I was talking about with Trevor Milton. So he has to forfeit his $166 million in stock that he would have lost anyway, and he gets to keep his $3.1 billion under the separation deal for defrauding people.
How is that right?
I don't know, but that was in response to his whole being found guilty. Obviously, this was from last year. I wonder if he gets to keep any of that now.
Yeah.
Wrong business.
Yeah, probably. Billionaires always win.
Yeah. So in China, the Model 3 SR, not Plus, so the Model 3 standard range, the timeshare car, has been reduced by 15,000 won, or the equivalent of $2,300. So now the cheapest Tesla in China sells for 235,900 won, and but these are Chinese won, not South Korean won, and that's $36,500. So pretty much where it always has been. Yeah,
right.
I like it. But you gotta sit through and tell them no, I'm sure what I want. I got it. Mm-hmm. Oh, fun times. A couple more for you here. What did you guys think of that stock for Breakneck Trent?
I don't know enough about it. I can't really formulate an opinion on that yet.
All right, so we talked about the 40% electric. This one was interesting to me, just because I do so much space stuff here. The new grid fins on the Super Heavy booster, they won't fold. And Elon confirms that, I think, right after this. Yeah. Yes. Simple. Yes. He doesn't miss words sometimes. So non-folding grid fins on booster number 4. This is a case of the best part being no part. Is this accurate? And Elon says yes. So here they're putting it on. Here is a example of how they think it will look.
They don't fold, but it looks like it may rotate.
Yeah, they still rotate. So I'm guessing they just rotate vertically, so they have less drag.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So they would just rotate vertically.
Yep. And then somewhere under here is a load point that you can catch them with, because he said they're not catching them with the fin itself anymore. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yes, I can't wait. So as early as Tuesday, we may see them test the new hold down clamps. Let me see if I've got a picture of that. I don't. I thought I did. Where do I want to go next? So Kentucky is going to get their first sales and service center at 11701 to 11715 Gateworth Way on the east side of Louisville. The building is currently occupied by Bluegrass Harley-Davidson, which could move out as early as November 1st, according to Marco RP Tesla. So let's see, I have a map here. Big real estate services. I can't make that any bigger. And then here's how the lot is going to be set up. I like the way that they reduce, reuse, and recycle. They're always using, I don't know that they've done too many new buildings for their sales and service. And he got it from the Courier Journal.
But do they like to purposely thumb their nose in the eye of thumb the eye of gas?
Yes. My first 2 Teslas, they were serviced and sold from my first one came from Chicago, but they were serviced, and then my new one was sold in a former Hyundai dealership, across from an Infiniti dealership.
Yeah, the one now, our dealership now is a former Dodge dealership. This is an old Harley, which is Harley. I mean, people who drive Harleys, we're seeing fewer and fewer of them. They're going to the other side.
They're continuing on. Yes, they're turning in another fashion. So I think that there's 2 things with this. One is like you said, thumbing their nose at them, and then 2, it's already been permitted for automotive and mechanical and whatever. So
okay, that makes it easier.
And you're not building a new building; you're just refurbishing one. So it makes sense. The Model S Plaid takes its place as production EV king with the Porsche Taycan Turbo S beatdown. That kind of plays into the last one. Here is what I was talking about. I didn't know if I included it, so we're going to glaze over it because we already touched on it. The Rivian eyes a 3rd assembly plant after talks with UK ministers. All right, then. The Model Y arrives at showroom in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Finally. Welcome to the club, guys.
I can see that. I can see the Model Y being literally the most popular vehicle.
Yeah, Elon said it would be, and I don't see any reason why he would be wrong, other than the current fact that the model Cybertruck is cheaper, but it doesn't exist yet. So
yeah, but the Cybertruck, I mean,
and it's a whole different vehicle, and it's bigger, and
yeah.
I still want one. So I like the little Y balloons. Like they took a happy birthday balloon and just took the Ys.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys! You'll enjoy it. Electric cars have a much lower cycle life. Emissions, new study confirms, is reported by Ars Technica. In the U.S., life cycle emissions.
I've been saying this for years.
Yeah. So in the U.S., life cycle emissions for EVs are already 60 to 68% lower than gasoline. And let me share the article so you can read it.
I've been saying this for years that for all the people trying to argue, well, you're just moving the emissions from the tailpipe to the factory, because if your electricity is produced off of coal or whatever, your car is actually dirtier, and all the mining and everything they have to do to produce that much batteries and blah blah blah. And I said, first of all, people were not taking into account everything that goes into the gas vehicles. They were only taking into the account the actual tailpipe emissions when they compared them, and they said, oh yeah, the ICE car is just as clean, or Prius is just as clean or cleaner than the battery car. When you take everything, soup to nuts, them drilling the oil out of the ground and taking it to the refineries, refining it, creating gasoline, then transporting it again to the gas stations, then having to pump that out of the ground into your vehicle, out of the tanks, right? Everything all involved from the well to the wheels. There's no way possible that EVs are not cleaner.
Right. And like even in India and China, for today, they're already there. So imagine West Virginia is going to be somewhere like India and China because it's all coal. But for the U.S. as a whole, this is today. This is the difference. And then it even gets better by 2030. And then Europe, same thing. You're here today.
And that's the other argument. This is your vehicle gets cleaner over time as the grid gets cleaner.
And I think the problem though
you can't
is
do that with a gas car.
Right.
No.
The problem though is to get people to care about cleaner driving. The argument that I run into is for cars that are similarly priced to a Tesla, they would argue, well, all you're doing is paying for the gas up front. So, the price overall is similar. And in some instances we can, it'll pencil out that way, but they're not counting in the pollution over 5 years of use. And just, it's getting people to care about that part too.
Right. And the longer you keep it, the more the savings adds up over time. Because with your maintenance over time, gas cars have a lot more things that maintenance-wise that will need to be done than the EV. And the longer you keep it, obviously the more fuel difference there is in the cost there.
But it's also getting them over that, getting people to accept that even though there's that maintenance, you got to take it to get an oil change. You got to do these repairs. People are just, well, that's just what I do. It's just normal for a car. To get people to understand that your life gets better when you don't have to do those things. It's actually a hurdle to get over. It's weird.
Right. Well, what's the definition of insanity, right? Just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean it's the best way. It may have been the best way at one time, but is it still the best way? We should reevaluate. So Hyundai and LG ES have announced that they're going to have a new battery plant in Indonesia. Good on you guys. There's going to be batteries for 150,000 electric vehicles.
We need this. Baby. We need more batteries.
We're going, baby.
More battery factories is better.
I don't understand why it's a different division of LG than the one that's already doing it, but whatever. It works. That's all that matters. They're making batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of their current contracts that they already have.
Yeah, and Indonesia may have different laws.
Possibly.
You're going to make the batteries in Indonesia?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I heard earlier on they were talking about that, and Indonesia says that they're not going to allow just extraction of their raw materials. They want value-added products coming out of Indonesia. So they'll make the batteries there, but you can't just come and take out stuff and make them somewhere else.
So that division is probably more in line with what the law is then, versus the other one. So Ford Mustang Mach-E is commemorating World War II women in the Air Force service pilots. It's going to be auctioned at the Experimental Aircraft Association Air Adventure Show.
Nice
It's coming from Autoblog. It looks nice. I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They need to make more of them so they can sell more Mach-E's.
One of a kind. One of a kind. I think they should make more than one. I mean, make a couple of these. I mean, it's an appearance package.
They should make more Mach-E's, period.
Yes, but they need more batteries. They need more batteries. Okay, so it's not purely an appearance package. Look, they did the stitching on the headband. Still mostly an appearance package. I like it. I would consider it if they had more than one, and I was in the mood for a Mustang. Well, I didn't make it bigger. Stop. Oh, I should have hit escape. That's why I did that. There we go. So let's see.
I just wish they had the ability to make more EVs, period.
Yes. It doesn't say much more about it. There we go. Let's see, did Marcus have anything else for us? He did not. All right. So, I am going to play a quick video, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. I want to thank you for coming through. And I'll chat with you three after the video plays. As soon as I find the button. I keep moving my buttons. And it's a good thing because they keep moving and adding more features. All right, so